here are the ones that are lawfully able to speak during this. If you guys have the opportunity to speak, if they grant you to do so, we ask that you do so. That is appropriate and respectful for the setting. Any disruptions, you're going to be warned. If you continue to disrupt, we're going to ask you to leave. If you refuse to leave, we'll have to go forward with any kind of criminal charges that apply. Okay. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me or one of the other officers. But like I said, thank you for coming, and hopefully everybody can be respectful tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Patricia. Here. Courtney.
Here.
Eric.
Yes.
Ezekiel.
Here.
Dustin.
Here.
Jay.
Here.
Okay. Approval of the May 4th, 2026 meeting minutes. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Dustin, second.
Second.
Zeke. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approval of.
No. Sorry, there was a no that wasn't asked for, ma'am. I didn't say yet.
Thank you for that. Approval of May 18th, 2026 special meeting minutes. Motion required.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Approval of the May 18th COW meeting minutes. Motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Tricia. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Approval of the June 15th, 2026 special meeting minutes. Motion to approve.
Motion.
to approve.
Patricia. Second.
Discussion.
Ezekiel. We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion? Since I have a second?
Yeah, you can have discussion.
Go ahead.
I don't feel this one can be approved until it's looked at. I've looked at it. There are strong procedural issues with this one. And with a couple of the past ones you just made official. There are vote counts where it says all in favor. In fact, it was a 4-2 vote. Many discrepancies. And as I spoke with Solicitor Mattis, the rest of it will be discussed later, but I object to this one being,
You want to make a motion to amend?
no ma'am.
So, with that, does anybody,
I guess I'm just confused. June 15th, he said it was a 4-2 vote. There's only 5 people here.
It wasn't that meeting that was a problem, but there are many inconsistencies.
But the other ones we just passed, so we're just talking about the June 15th one right
I
now.
was just entering a statement for the record.
There were
That's
only
simply-
5 people at the June 15th meeting.
Right, it wasn't that meeting that was a problem, it was one of the other ones, but there are many inconsistencies with June 15th that should be looked at before it's adopted as record.
Well, then why didn't you just ask for discussion when we were just voting on those ones? Why would you bring it up after the fact when we're already at the bottom one if you had a problem with the other ones?
I cannot discuss that with you currently, under advisement of council.
Your own legal counsel, I'm assuming.
No, we spoke. He's got a procedural issue we can discuss in executive session.
so do we want to table
okay.
these minutes? I need to.
We've
Yeah,
already
I just
voted
thought
on the
about-
first
I was
three.
about to say,
No, I'm not
shouldn't
on top of
everybody
the
know
June
about
15th.
this?
We can table for further discussion and make a motion to table.
Well, how would
Motion to
you
table
not
for
know about
Dustin.
this?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Hey.
I oppose.
I oppose as well.
Okay, so that makes it a tie. What's he saying?
What's the vote total?
2-2.
It's a table?
3-2.
Three
I'm
to-
sorry, 3-2.
3 to
I'm
2.
sorry, I didn't see Jason there. Okay, so we'll table that. All right, next up are administrative reports. Mayor's report. Some of these go back to June. We didn't have a meeting, I didn't get to read it all, so. I want to let you know that myself, Dave Riley, Bill Mattis, Courtney, and Patricia met with AWS on Friday, which was a month ago. As it's stated in the moratorium, we can still have discussions with the landowners during this 18 months. We didn't discuss anything significant. We discussed the concerns we have with safety and the number of buildings, which they indicated they were open to negotiate that. I did tell them we will not be rushing this and we'll be working on our timeline only, not theirs. I will let Patricia and Courtney speak as to what their takeaway from the meeting was in their legislative report. We have listed our job posting for our village zoning inspector in the paper, on a website, and our app. I've also shared it on Facebook. If you know someone that would be interested, please have them fill out an application and email it to us or drop it off in the office. I will be bringing to council at the next COW meeting, Dustin, if you may, a request for a part-time administrative assistant in the office. Details of that job description will be forthcoming. I will also be bringing legislation regarding e-bikes and electric scooters, as we've had numerous complaints of the dangers of them on the roads. Adam is currently looking at the legislation to see what he might like to add, and we can discuss that in the COW. An update on the new website. The design of the site is currently undergoing a quality check by the design team to make sure everything is in place and works correctly. The content team is preparing for the content migration from your existing site, which may take place in a few weeks. They'll be mapping out the site in the meantime to make the actual migration run smoothly. Dion has installed our new cameras at the police garage and around the buildings. We will be looking into new cameras at the water plant next, and I'll bring that for discussion as we get closer. Farmers Market will be on July 11th from 10 to 1. We'll be collecting donations for a school supply drive, and the raffle money will go directly to Global Methodist to help fund this. Our last food truck festival will be on Saturday, August 1st from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Commercial Point Men's Club. We'll be having this again on this time. Max Mobley will also be performing. The car show and concert will be on August 8th downtown. There will be food trucks at this event as well. Jim Albright reached out to me and asked me to help him with that again, and he's such a huge part of this community, I cannot tell Jim no. I met with Morpsey a couple weeks ago, and Dave and I will be looking into various street grants that they offer. And starting July 7th, we will be crack sealing Walker Point, all phases except for the newest phase. Zach, who works for our street department, personally served letters to all those who will be affected by this. And we ask that when your street is scheduled to be done, please do not park on the street. That's all I have. Okay, go to solicitor's report.
Just one item. Chief brought to my attention the need for some legislation on fireworks starting next year. And we met and discussed what he wants to do with that. I'm sure Chief will add a little bit more to that.
Police chief's report.
You all will be getting your monthly reports sent to you prior to the COW meeting to review. Just try to remember things because we skipped the meeting. Homecoming Festival, it went by with no major problems that went on. Everything had fireworks went well. No major incidents, like I said, on our end, at least, that had occurred. Also, we have one officer that will be leaving here on the 17th, Officer Howard. I have posted the position. I got multiple applicants for that position. We'll be doing interviews tomorrow and Wednesday. We also posted the detective position for the police department. That's online as well. I've got several applicants for that will be starting interviews tomorrow for that. Bill mentioned about the fireworks ordinance. This is something I've talked with the fire chief about it. Basically, what we ran into is this year wasn't too bad with fireworks in the roadways, things like that. However, what we're looking at is densely populated as we are. When you look at the fire codes of being 150 foot away from a structure, there is not very many places that we can think of to where you could do that, especially in the subdivisions. With that said, fireworks are definitely not what they were when I was a kid and did dumb things with them. They're way more powerful than what they used to be. They shoot further. I think it's mortars. It's mostly what a lot of people are using. Usually they're professional fireworks going on. I said fireworks, they're great to look at a distance and things like that. It's just looking at if one goes wrong, in a close subdivision, it's gonna be very bad. You know, people could lose property, be in their homes if somebody's in them, and it catches on fire. If they don't know it, they're unable to get out. We could look at people getting hurt or killed from it. So that is something that me and Bill have talked, and the mayor, fire chief have talked about getting something together for you all to look at, to consider for fireworks going forward. The Ohio Revised Code permits for villages, cities, to pass ordinances on them. They also permit for counties and townships to pass resolutions about the use of fireworks. That's all I got.
Any questions for the chief?
So it sounds like just a ban is about the only answer that safely do it? Or a ban in R1 and R3, is that?
More than likely, we've talked about, okay, like non-aerials, you know, about fountains and things like that, but the problem you run into, it starts getting a slippery slope. Somebody's gone, you know, could have a fountain that's very large, because even those have increased and things like that, in the size and the power of them.
What's their classification? Like, if you buy it at Walmart, it's classified as one thing, if you have to go to a fireworks store, it's another. There has to be something.
The two classifications I know of is you got 1.4 G, 1.3 G. 1.3 G is the professionals that they have to have licenses for ATF and also for the fire marshal's office. That's what they light over here during the homecoming festival. 1.4 is civilian grade fireworks, or consumer grade, actually. The novelties, I think what you're referring to, like you used to be able to go to Walmart and get the sparklers, the little pop things that you could throw and pop. They'd have some smaller fountains. Those still fall under the 1.4, the consumer grade though. So again, it's just where do you put the line of what you're going to permit and what you're not.
Part of it's officer education. The code is currently pages long, and on July 4th, you can't pull out that code and say,
It sends you down the legal rabbit hole, because you'll start reading it, that says refer to ORC section this, then you start reading that, then you got the Ohio Fire Code that comes into it, and by the time you get it figured out, you have a law degree. So it's just, it's crazy to try to decipher, and I feel it's one of those laws that was designed to be kind of awkward to try to read to begin with.
I know when Jay brought this up, was it 2 years ago, Jay, about the fireworks? I did put together something that took all that into consideration. If you'd like to view it, I'd absolutely share it. It looks at the fire side, the police side, and kind of takes everybody around us and puts that into words. The enforcement side is very short and sweet.
So our codifications years ago, when basically you couldn't do them throughout the state, our codification supported that. Even when the state first started allowing them, our codifications for like that till the next year was the same thing. It was no fireworks. Then, is it American Legal Publishing, I think is who does our codifications. They basically matched it to match the ORC, and it didn't get caught. And so that's what we work with what codes we have, and ordinances and the ORC. If it's not in there, there's not a whole lot we can do with it.
but yeah, if you've got a draft of legislation, please forward it.
Wouldn't that mean that our statute is still what was adopted, not what codified? It'd be the
It's-
signature, so it'd be a ban, correct?
What's in the current code is what was adopted by vote.
Oh, I thought.
There's a date after it, but
Oh, okay. So it didn't just get.
and we looked at it. You're right, we did look at it a couple
And
years
I'm
ago.
just using this for example, so don't hold me to it. Let's say in 2020 they were illegal across the state. Well, then in 2020 they changed it to where you could light them off. Like the second half, where our codifications, they were still in play till they got revoted in like 2021 or 2022. So like I said, there was about a year to where we still operated off. Our code indicated that. And then the American Legal Publishing, they did the update to match ORC, and just nobody really thought or looked at it.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
But there were no incidents this last work that would cause you to have a particular concern. That's pretty So,
Well, there was, biggest concern was there was a lot of debris where there were some folks that were lighting them in the road. We've had people indicate that, things fell on their house, on their rooftops. And that, like I said, that would be the one that would concern me. Hope, obviously, if they hit the rooftop, they were probably pulled down enough where it didn't cause any damage. We hope, but the biggest, like I said, is I'm worried, and I've had this happen to me years ago. You get one that tips over and goes shoot, and likely mine hit the side of an above ground pool, and I got chewed out about it because I tore our pool up, and that, it could have shot into a neighbor's house. So that's my biggest concern with it is, when they do go wrong, and they do go wrong at times. And without, appropriate distance, and I don't know where you could determine, there is probably maybe 3 or 4 people that have pretty large areas. For example, I'm gonna pick on Jim Albright, he's got a huge chunk of property. He could probably safely light one and not be within a couple hundred feet of somebody's house. But that's, maybe 5% of the folks that live in the village.
Okay, anything else? All right, village administrator's report, he's out. Give me anything to update, so we'll move on. Village engineer's report.
Just give you an update on some of the projects going on in the village. Starting with the industrial park. So last month we did have the pre-construction meetings for lots 9 and 10. So lot 9, that is IDI, the developer, and they are located in the north portion of the park. They're on the east side of Commercial Point Parkway. To give you some kind of an idea of where they're located. Lot 10, that is Skinnell as the developer. Lot 10, it borders 104 and Commercial Point Parkway. So it's kind of the northwest corner of the industrial park. And then also Lot 7. Lot 7 is currently in plan review. We just completed our second review of those plans, so we expect to resubmittal any day on Lot 7. Commercial Point Plaza, that is the commercial development Mexican restaurant. We just finished the second plan review on that project. We do need another submittal from them. Chestnut Commons, the drainage. We've submitted final plans to the village for review. So we're in the process collecting comments. We'll get those finalized and we can then get them out to bid so we get a contractor secured. Foxfire Phase 5. The technical review group, we've reviewed those plans. They've addressed all our comments, so we are finished. Those plans are approved by the technical review group. So Foxfire Phase 5. And Walker Road, the existing lift station on Walker Road. It's located just north of the Scioto Township Fire Station. It is pretty much at capacity. So the village hired EDG to essentially do a study to evaluate that lift station, to try to upgrade and add capacity. So we're doing more of a regional study. We're not just focusing at the lift station, seeing if there are other improvements that could be made between there and the treatment plant. And we plan to have the results of that study next month in August. And also Ezekiel, the mayor, did share some of the pond legislation that you prepared. Happy to discuss that at any time. If there's anything in particular you want to go over with that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just communicate the schedule.
Anything else for me?
So did you have any kind of concerns or notes that you had sent back on the development partners Commercial Point Plaza?
The second round.
You were waiting on the second round.
So the second plan review, the comments, a lot of it focused on drainage. The pond that was designed out front, I think it's undersized. So asking them to take another look at their numbers, follow the current regs, essentially redesign the pond so it's adequate for the site. Couple items on utilities in terms of water service, sewer service. That was really it. Fire chief was good. We added just an emergency entrance only, just to the south. So that gave them the proper spacing along the road for their public drive. But then we have just an emergency access. It'll be pavers with grass, so it won't look like a true drive to the average motorist. But it's for the fire chief to have that second entrance onto the site. Yeah. They're getting closer, but they still need to sharpen their pencil on the drainage.
Sure. And then, do you have any updates on the traffic study from Scioto Crossing Estates?
So Scioto Crossing and then also Towns Meadow? The State Route 104 just north of 762. I see emails on both of those coming back and forth between ODOT and the developer. I will need to talk with Dave and the mayor. So typically the technical review group, we do not get involved until council says this is a project and we approve it. If we get involved, then you're incurring costs for us to review something that you may not want to see come to the village. So if you want to get us involved, we certainly can, but I just want permission before we start reviewing things.
Understood.
And we can share, I mean, I send the emails, if the mayor and Dave aren't copied, I make sure they have those. I'm sure if you guys would like to see them, they could be shared with everyone. But
They were just going back and forth and there was no definite answer yet, so I
yes.
figured we'll wait until ODOT's questions are answered.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Zoning administrator, not here tonight. Fiscal officer's report.
So my audit will be starting next week. I'm preparing for the audit right now. I'm getting everything pulled for them, checks, deposits, all that sort of stuff in 2024 and 2025. So that will be starting this next week. Speaking of the spreadsheets that everybody was wondering about, I took the time and I updated them all to the best of my ability. I asked Susan for some help on some dates that I did not have. So these are the most up-to-date spreadsheets that are available with everything that we have.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. If you have any questions, let me know. You'll see in the lower right-hand corner, if I revise them, they have a revised date for July 2nd. So any questions, let me know. Adam asked me to let you all know that we ordered the street counter, the car counter, the vehicle counter. We forgot it is, so I know.
Can't be perfect all the time.
Okay, any questions for the fiscal officer? Okay, legislative reports.
Just one question, just so the record's clear. Are these the spreadsheets that you were talking about?
Yes,
Yes.
those are what I had sent samples of. Those are now the building ones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
Okay, just remind everybody, they, try to stay to 5 minutes. We'll start off with Courtney.
I just wanted to touch on the meeting that I attended with AWS. We met with some of their land and economic development people. I think 2 people were from corporate legal. No, 1 person was from corporate legal, and then their local representative here. Just kind of to add to what the mayor said, it wasn't any plans. She did address the building amounts. Really, they just asked us what we want to know. They know we're doing our own independent study, but they want their opportunity to bring experts as well. And so we talked about basically just the issues that everybody in the, at least that's what most of the meeting was surrounded about. Me and Trish had a lot of questions for them. And so did the mayor. I want to give credit to the mayor as well. They were pushing us on a timeline, and she straight up told them, this is not going to be we're not rushing anything for you. They're well aware that this is going to be on our own schedule, however that goes. We talked about sound. We talked about design standards. We even talked about decommissioning, if it does happen, decommissioning of the building. We talked about the water usage, not super detailed, just very top line stuff that they could give us now. We talked about the power generation. We even talked about temperatures of the water, some of the gas lines that are already on the property. We talked about that. And then we talked about their community engagement team as well, which is something they like to do. So that was kind of all I really wanted to touch on with that. And also, like the mayor said, the moratorium did not say that we cannot have conversations with them, and it was a very, this is our problem, pretty much. At least that's how I felt about it. So yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
I don't have anything to say.
Tricia?
I'll echo Courtney's comments. When we met with AWS, it was a really robust conversation. I will tell you, we probably did more talking than they did. As Courtney could say, we were literally holding them to the fire on every issue, every question, every constituent had. We asked it. As she said, the mayor, they were like, hey, we're on a timeline. And basically, to sum it up in a nutshell, we're worried about our timeline and not your timeline. So the moratorium is 18 months. Yeah, I don't know, Bill, if I can say one question that I asked. Am I allowed to say that? Can I tell them?
Yeah, you can say whatever you asked.
I did ask them at the end, my question was, are you willing to buy out homeowners that don't want to stay? And they did not answer that question, but it was put out there, if you want to buy anybody out. So that's all that I have. But just to let you know, we did most of the talking and asking most of the questions because you guys are most important, and we're going to serve, and we're going to do everything we can. Thank you.
Eric?
Yeah, I have to read this verbatim so that I stay in line with agreement with council. Before I begin, I want this statement considered in full context, not by clips or selected quotes. I discussed with Solicitor Mattis only the general concern that some topics may overlap with pending or potential litigation. I took that under advisement. What remains is what I believe I have an ethical obligation to place on the record. My purpose is not to accuse anyone of wrongdoing. My purpose is to correct the record, identify questions needing independent review, and ask the council not keep moving forward while serious record-based concerns remain unresolved. I want to address my comment. I'm glad you dressed up for the cameras. That comment came from frustration after a week of watching a text message circulate on Facebook get treated as fact, and then get brought up into public discussion suggesting I and members of the public engaged in serious misconduct. At the same time, people implied I was behind anonymous posts, stated I was running from the issue, and repeated claims without asking my side. So yes, the comment came from frustration after watching the narrative build. But when Ms. Denton responded, "I'm so glad you are showing your true colors," I knew it was already turned into something it was not meant to be. That is why context matters. There are other public concerns that deserve the same level of scrutiny. It appears elected officials attended meetings connected with organizations or individuals that now involved in litigation with the village. I just wonder, will Council President Fox or Mr. Miller let us know, did Mr. Gibbons run that meeting, because that's about when he moved here. It appears that council members sought advice from an attorney that's connected to a developer that does data centers and is now suing the village regarding moratorium legislation related to that exact dispute. It appears there are legitimate questions regarding the village supervisory structure involving the mayor and her sister. These are not conclusions, these are questions for independent review. I also want the full context reflected regarding my direct quote of the chief of police. The quote was made while I sat in his seat, this very seat, in this very room, after a meeting where I was made to feel I was not free to leave. I had Councilwoman Denton there, Councilman Miller right behind me, leaning on my chair. No way I can get to my crutches to leave, I just had to sit there and take it. The quote was made while I sat there after the meeting, and where I later felt my physical limitations may have affected my ability to remove myself. It was over a police report that the chief said may or may not involve the parties involved using a racial slur that I will not use because we are in session and this is chambers. Instead of anyone asking why the quote was used, it has been reduced to something said, quote, in chambers. I'm not asking anyone to accept my perception as fact. I'm asking that the situation be reviewed objectively. No elected official and no member of the public should leave a meeting wondering whether their physical limitations were used against them to deliver a message of intimidation. Council President Fox later stated that he found nothing wrong with any other council member's actions, despite knowing many of these concerns. He also communicated with council members and other outside meetings during the same period of my communications that are being questioned. That includes Bruce Moore. Council members talk to people. That is part of serving on council. If outside communication is now an ethics standard, apply it equally. If it is normal for others, it should be treated as normal for me. I am asking for one standard. I reached out to Scioto Township trustee Corey Waffmus and provided my investigative summary. My understanding was that the concern was not whether the records mattered, but whether it made a good headline. I also understand him to say that Jeremy would not do a story that made Nancy look bad. That is why records, not narratives, must control the process. And after everything we've seen in minutes, summaries, tone, context, and what does or does not make it into the official record, I do wonder whether the minutes will accurately reflect the tone and purpose of this statement. That is not an attack, that is why record accuracy matters. What started as testing what I believe to be a broken process has led to public uncertainty, and people are rightfully questioning nearly everything. From this side of the desk, the view is not good right now. In closing, I am not asking anyone to accept my opinion as fact. I am asking council and the public to review the record. There are legitimate questions about whether prior actions, unresolved conflicts, public record issues, meeting procedures, legal guidance, and pending litigation may now be influencing legislative decisions. If independent review clears those concerns,
5 minutes.
everybody benefits. Ma'am, there's not a time limit on
There
legislation.
actually is in
No.
our council rules. You have 5
Point of
minutes to
order.
speak. You have 5 minutes to speak. in our
Point of
council
order,
rules.
he's wrapping up, wrap up.
Yeah, wrap it up.
I want to see this rule of 5 minutes. That's the filibuster rule for during legislation time. Just
Finish your
another,
statement,
ahead.
please.
if independent review clears, if it identifies procedural problems, unsupported claims, or conflicts, they should be corrected before council moves forward. And because it has been suggested that I am on Bruce Moore's payroll, Billy Scaler's payroll, or anyone else's payroll, it's not simply true. My position has always been about the process, the public records, and doing what I believe is right for this community. Let's review the record, let's correct what needs corrected, let's shake hands where we can, let's negotiate in good faith where we can, and let's build the best damn community in Central Ohio. Thank you.
Okay, Dustin,
None at this time.
Jay,
Nothing at this time.
anything from the land use committee?
We did not meet last month, so
Okay, thank you. Alright, we're gonna move on to public comments. Remind you all you have 5 minutes to speak. Council will not answer any questions if they choose to. There's a section on the agenda that they can do that. First up is Wendy Sizemore. Please state your name and address too, please.
Wendy Sizemore, 8960 State Route 762. I'm first of all gonna ask that if I can have a minute or two of Mike's time, because I know I'm gonna go over it. I'll get it done as quickly as I can.
5 minutes.
I am going to be, I want to address a Facebook post, and I've never done this before. I don't think this is the appropriate place for it, but this one was serious enough that I thought it should be addressed. And it is a text message that I'm sure most all of you have seen. If you haven't seen it, it's attached to the statement that I left for you guys prior. The first thing is that I was given information that Mayor Geiger threatened eminent domain against the men's club for park property. I state in that text message that should be asked by the leadership of the men's club, because I did not have first-hand information. And otherwise, in other words, go to the source. As it relates to extortion, some of you have asked why this development failed the first time around, and to that I have replied consistently that I do not know for sure, because I don't. After we cleared the annexation hurdle and not long before the development agreement was to be voted on, Mike and I were approached then by Council Member Geiger. It was done in a way that was not exactly public and made me very uncomfortable. She was asking for the 5 to 10 acres that we had previously offered to the fire department for a new firehouse to be made part of the Gibson Road deal. And to add to the 17-acre park that we had already agreed to. Making the 5 to 10 acres part of the deal was not a problem, but the way that it was approached left me feeling as though we could possibly be made out to look like we were offering a bribe. And I'm not going to jail for anybody, or money. There's no amount of money that's gonna get me to go to jail. It should be noted that I think possibly 3 to 4 council members were also on the park committee at that time. Ultimately, the development agreement was not voted on for lack of a second. Ross Kriego made the motion and it was not seconded. There was some limited discussion as to, was it too large, was there too much commercial? Nothing seemed really clear, because as far as we knew, Rockford had made every accommodation council had asked for except the additional acres. We then had a choice as to whether or not to pursue a legal remedy, since the development plan did not receive the legally required vote. And then there were the circumstances around the 5 to 10 acre inclusion. Ultimately, both we and Rockford opted not to seek legal recourse. Mine and Mike's reasoning was this: we believe certainly that Councilmember Geiger had demonstrated a lack of knowledge and experience. I wouldn't say she was new. She was being overzealous, but we opted not to pursue anything because she wasn't asking for anything for her own personal gain. It was for what she felt was the good of the village. And I think that needs to be acknowledged. I'm of the strong opinion that Corey Wasmus is just now publicizing this as a further means to divide this village against itself in order to block the annexation of our property, because short of the tie vote, Mayor Geiger doesn't even have a vote anymore. So why is he using this opportunity to drag her through the mud? In April of 2025, when council voted to re-annex and start the development agreement process over again, the village administrator reported that all the sewer expansion had been completed and were being brought online. This is a process that must be done in phases, but the expansion of capacity was complete. Council, as a result, certified this to the county commissioners. Corey Wasmus promptly emailed Gary Shearer and told him that this was not true and that the village could not service us. I discovered this email through a Freedom of Information request that I made to the county commissioners for the emails between Corey and the commissioners. So Corey lied to the commissioners, and as a result, they set aside the certification and overruled the actual will of the village council and voted down our petition for annexation. About 6 days after the commissioners voted, so I think that was April 30th, and it was 6 days after their vote before Corey actually asked the village for a FOIA inquiry as to the sewer capacity. So he made that statement before he made the statement saying there was not capacity before he did the FOIA as to the capacity. Again, we had to make a decision as to whether or not to pursue legal action and seek a writ of mandamus. We opted not to. Leading up to the July vote, Corey repeatedly went to the podium at the trustees meeting and week after week lied and lobbied the trustees to hold true to the Ohio Revised Code regarding road agreements with the township and apply to a standard to us that had never been applied to anyone else in the past. We
5 minutes are up.
Can I borrow 2 minutes from Mike?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Are you just reading this statement that you've given
Yeah,
everyone?
yes.
Do you want this to be part of the record?
Yes,
We
I
can
do,
just append it
please.
to the minutes.
Yes, I do. That's why I made sure everybody had a copy.
Okay. We can put all of this in the record is what I'm
I
saying. You
would
don't
like
have
to,
to read
I
it.
would like to read it for
Go
the
ahead.
public also, please,
Go
if
ahead.
that's okay. With the township to apply a standard to us that had never been applied to anyone in the past. We strongly believe this was a violation of the Equal Protection Clause, but again, opted not to pursue very expensive legal action. It is my hope that we can move forward from tonight with open, honest discussions, all cards on the table in full public view, and I want to start with this. Corey is on a continued social media campaign against tax increment financing, community economic development agreements, and new community authorities. I want it to be noted that while he does this, his family's company, that is as late as October, he still worked for and may still actively expands their considerable wealth by building homes in dense communities who utilize TIFs, CEDAs, and NCAs. If you doubt me, perhaps you want to pick up the phone and call Pulte Homes and ask them. I would also ask that when D.R. Horton's here, you may ask them as well. I don't know what Trustee Wasmus's end game is. Is he an NIMBY? Page 82 of deposition. And is it to block any development near his home? See page 67 of the deposition. Is it to wear us and Rockford down until we bring in one of the builders his family builds for? I don't know, but what I do fully believe is that while Mayor Nancy Geiger may have made some mistakes, they were motivated by her love for this village. Due in part to a statement by Corey Wasmus made in his deposition, I am equally convinced, in my opinion, that Trustee Wasmus's actions are motivated by what he believes is good for his family and keeping it township land. And out of the control of the village is what he believes is good for his family. See page 67 of his deposition. As I have watched the last 15 months unfold, I have become increasingly concerned that there is an attempt being made to collapse the village and bring it under the control of township zoning. I would be happy to answer any questions later in the meeting if you have them.
Thank you. So Mike, did you have anything to add to that? You signed up.
Nope.
Okay. I'm sorry, I can't read the last name. Corey?
I'm in new business, thank you, sorry.
Okay. Joe Hammond?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Thank you for your time. My name is Joe Hammond, address 131 Foxfire Boulevard, Commercial Point, Ohio. I had a couple of questions, so I did hear that the questions will be answered during council meeting, but I would still like to answer some questions at a future date. And these questions concern the data center. There's been a lot of communication concerning this item, which is not possible to know what's true or untrue. My question is pretty simple, and it should be pretty simple to answer. Data centers require two major items, one electricity and the other water. Data centers can build their own electric power plants without a problem. The question comes down, they use huge amounts of water further, and how is Commercial Point going to provide it, and how will Commercial Point dispose of the water once it's used? The only source I'm aware of that we have are wells. And those do not have the capacity to deliver the huge quantities of water required for a data center. The Aqua Center needed there for how can they meet that need. It is also reported that Commercial Point received a large deposit with the application was presented. Are those funds in an escrow account, not in a general fund, as they should be, and they should not and could not be used for general funding purposes? So those are just the 3 points that I needed. I stayed totally away from the whole issue. I don't know the honest truth, but the thing I am totally aware of, we at the present time in Commercial Point do not possess the ability to produce any large quantities of aqua to anyone. Thank you very much.
Jim? Stephen Hill?
Look at my bad side. I don't have a good side. Hello, everybody. My name is Keevan Hill, 8901 State Route 762, Orion, Ohio. I don't normally like to come and talk in front of people, but because our society has gotten so social media involved that we're starting to see a lot of posts being made that have a lot of untruths in them. And so therefore I thought it would be best for those of you that don't know us personally, for me to tell you who we are. Especially those on council who make decisions every day and really don't know who we are. So I'm going to read this into the record. This is in response to recent posts, videos, conversations, accusations, and statements. Let me share some truth. My name is Keevan Hill. I was raised in Scioto Township, Pickaway County. I graduated from Tays Valley High School. I went to Diesel Tech School, and then I married my wife of 40 years, Kathy. She is an RN. In my young life, I worked a full-time job in town as a mechanic in addition to farming. As we were able, we started purchasing real estate. Mainly, but not mainly, but in this area because this is where we were born and raised. A lot of it. I have always been an entrepreneur. My diversification comes from my desire to do great things and to make the world a better place. I also love a challenge and I love to try new things. I have worked as a farmer, a mechanic, a truck driver, large equipment operator, real estate investor, storage unit owner. I own multiple small businesses. I'm a builder. I have worked in recovery for FEMA after Katrina, hauling trailers, clearing debris, setting up multiple FEMA parks for those who lost everything in disasters. We sell mowers, we sell golf carts. I have split lots to sell folks who look to build new homes in different areas. I have sold some property to developers. I have a sizable grain operation in Ohio and Kentucky. I have a large chestnut agroforestry operation in Kentucky that focuses on regenerative agriculture and farmland preservation. I work with multiple organizations to increase the knowledge of regenerative agriculture and farmland preservation across multiple states, including, but not limited to, Ohio, Kentucky, Michigan, North Carolina, Mississippi, and Arkansas. You may have wondered what those trees are out by the two little fields in front of our house. Those are chestnut trees. That's what we raise in Kentucky. We have the largest operation in all of North America. I have served as township trustee for 8 years. I served for the Pickaway County Farm Bureau for many years, including as president and vice president. I served on the Farmland Preservation Task Force for the state of Ohio. I was privileged to be on the Farm Bureau trade mission trip to 5 different countries in Europe to try to promote agricultural trade to our European neighbors. I've worked with the homeless in Columbus for over 30 years, driving a bus for many years on Sunday morning. All of our kids grew up knowing that at 5:30 Sunday morning, they had to climb in the bus with Dad, go into the homeless camps, pick up the homeless, pick them up from under bridges. We averaged about 120 every Sunday. We would take up to church. We would feed them breakfast that we prepared. We would let them go through the clothing rooms that we had available, and then we would take them back. Before then, we would go to church ourselves. Kathy and I are involved with our home church, but we're also involved with many other churches and organizations in which we are passionate about their missions. I've served many years as the senior vice president of a foundation that focuses on affordable housing for seniors. We have over 650 units at this point. We focus on senior living. We try to help those that are unfortunate but are looking for a hand up and not just a hand out.
That's where you got.
Are you serious?
Everybody else has got an extra time, so I don't want to.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm almost done,
Go ahead.
because this is the important part. On February 25th of 2025, I had lunch with Ralph Wolf. I was trying to get to know him a little better. We ate Asian buffet. During our conversation, one of the questions that came up is I asked him where he thought the township stood on data centers. I knew lots of folks were getting calls about the possibility of selling their land for that purpose, and I had actually had a call about our property on Lane Road. Let me be clear. I have never received an offer from any data center developer. I am not looking for one. I was curious about what Ralph had heard about these things that were just starting to come into the communication and public communication. And I wanted to know what one of our local leaders, what their knowledge was on the subject, period. That was the only discussion that took place. Ralph told me this past winter, after Corey Walsmus made a post showing a text Ralph had sent him, that he straightened Corey out and clarified the actual conversation so that Corey could be transparent and truthful in his public exchange of information. The picture of myself and Brandon Hill that was all over Foxfire social media was from April 1st of 2025 at the Pickaway County Fairgrounds, where he was the keynote speaker at the Republican Party Lincoln Day dinner that we support. As far as my son is concerned, he brought his firm that he works for, Manick Smith, to Commercial Point because they're very passionate about serving communities like ours as trusted advisors. He and his associates are driven by the needs of the community and expressed by the public who are choosing to have their voice heard. I'm glad to know that everyone who is active on social media is poised to prioritize responding to the surveys, stakeholder interviews, and will be making time to come and attend the public open houses. As far as gifts to public officials, such as golf carts, I want to be very clear. I have never given any gifts to any public officials. If you have any questions about me, my business, my philanthropy, or my integrity and my operations, I ask that you come to me. I appreciate it if you didn't post videos, make statements, or insinuate accusations without facts. There is an abundance of misinformation being spewed under the banner of transparency, and caveated by, I'm not making accusations, I really don't know, I'm just asking questions. Well, slander is real and can be pursued, and it impacts our community, and that's sad. Dramatics are easier to pay attention to than truth, and it is simpler to treat each other as distant combatants rather than complex neighbors. I love this community, I love our neighbors, and I pray for peace and unity in our village. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Denny?
My name is Chris Denny, 1309 Adrian Court, Walker Point, Commercial Point. Mine's brief. I just wanted to bring up, and you mentioned it at the beginning of the meeting, so maybe I didn't even need to say it, but I've just seen a lot more issues lately with e-bikes, e-scooters, not really knowing what the laws are, not knowing how to address it. Almost hit one the other day that pulled right out in front of my car, and then my wife told me last week there was a someone going 25 miles an hour or more on a sidewalk, and she had to pull her son off the sidewalk. So really, I was just asking if we can please look into what the legislation is and see if we can tighten that up, and that's it, mine's brief.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Y'all have a copy, Hilo Media, as you know, I'm working everything up here, and sometimes it can be distracting, things can happen just like now. Dion gave us a quote to move the equipment and start running the meetings for us. We should have that. So if there's any discussion, that's fine. If not, we'll just have a motion to allow him to do that.
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Jay.
One
I just need a motion. Just a motion. Okay. John?
Just one point of order, were there any terms and conditions, or is it just this quote for
Just this
$875?
quote.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, then on there it says like $100 per session.
Yeah, got it.
So, okay, all right, Dion.
Thank
You ready for the cow meeting? Thank you.
Ma'am, you didn't do a vote. You just had a motion in a second. She didn't all in favor.
Right, well, that's why I asked me to do all in favor. He said no. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Any opposed?
Yes.
okay. Aaron gets opposed. Okay, the NCA petition, I'm gonna wait until we get to that legislation. to talk about that. The yard sale permits. This has come up a few times, you know, back, I don't know, probably 20 years ago, plus years ago, we started having yard sale permits because we had people leaving yard sales up for weeks upon end. Yes, so, that's when we started these yard sale permits. I think we're kind of past that now, but I know like with Chestnut, when they had their community sale, they're like, does everybody really have to bring in a permit? I'm like, unfortunately, yes. All it is, you know, there are some free weekends, which were normally the week after the go-karts and the week after the homecoming. We don't have go-karts anymore. So my suggestion are two things. You guys can decide, is to do away with them entirely, because the police are not going around checking their permits. They have much more important things to do. Secondly, we have maybe the organizer of that community yard sale fill out one for the whole community. So I just think we need to streamline those, because I know we got a ton in here that we had to go through and take care of.
Can we, if there's a community-wide one, or if there's something, I would probably welcome the fact if they just list the addresses where they are, and you have an organizer just do on one behalf. I mean, we have them, you know, on their social media pages, hey, who wants to do this?
Yeah.
And I think it'll just give an idea of where they're being done.
So you're fine with the organizer?
I have no issues.
This is just for the yard sales, correct?
Right.
Correct.
Yes.
But what about one-offs? So I guess that's fine
You
if
would
we
still-
do
you would still
that.
have the same
They would
process.
still
So
follow
for
the
one-offs,
process.
they would just still have to get a permit?
Yeah.
How much is it? What's
They're
tw-
not, they
Oh,
don't
it's
cost
free?
anything. It's
Oh,
just
okay, I don't know why I
literally-
was thought they cost.
I don't know why, that's why I said free. You know, that just means they don't have to come in and fill out the paperwork.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, those were the two options I was thinking of. You know, I don't know what everybody else thought.
If I could suggest that the calls for those original permits has been mitigated a while back. Would it be possible to just legislate that any garage sale or yard sale, or however we want to define it, that is lasting over 3 days, which would allow Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you want it over 3 days, then we need to know about it. Because HOAs are going to govern how long you can have stuff set up, if it can be in the driveway. Let's let the HOAs, you know, govern that part and just say, hey, if it's over 3 days, now it's a problem. And it might lead to having to have the permit or a violation or whatever. That way it's clean, we're not telling people what they can and can't do with their own property.
The only thing we wouldn't know if it's up for 3 days or not, because we don't know when we don't know when they started.
If the consensus is that we're past
Yeah.
whatever the environment was that was causing us to
We are.
need this in the first place, then why don't we just do away with the permits completely?
Okay, with that too.
Well, I mean,
Or we can
yeah.
pause them until such time it could
Yeah.
become an issue.
Can
I mean,
we do that?
could-
Where if we feel like we need it again, we can,
We can pause it, right?
yeah, I put it in our sales too.
I don't know the legal terminology, but can we administratively, table those so that then we could bring it back if we need to, or what would be the proper legal procedure to not kill it and repeal it, but
Let me take a look at the legislation and the permit form and report back at the Cal.
Can I pause them for now?
Huh?
Can I pause them for now?
Let me look at what the legislation, the existing legislation is. Because you probably would have to repeal it to give notice
Okay,
if there is legislation. I just don't know. Let me take a look.
okay. Fair enough. Okay, next up is the business of Bounce. You know, we had our food truck festival up at the men's club, and there was quite the crowd, and there were a lot of kids. And we were talking about maybe it might be a good idea to add a couple bounce houses. We do have the Park and Rec Fund. I did reach out to them and gave you the quote for the 2 bounce houses, along with the cost. This would just be for the August 1st,
Who's putting on the food truck festival?
the village.
So we are.
Yeah.
We're responsible.
We just use their
They just let us use their.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't realize we had a parking recs committee at all.
We don't, I'm saying we have Park and Rec Fund.
That I understand.
Yeah, you guys, the authority.
Yeah, we gave them the
to-
authority.
I understand, but I'm just trying to figure out who's running this, who's in charge.
Nancy, we gave her,
gave it.
we gave her and Paula
For the
the authority
administration.
to,
Because there is.
And Wendy, you gave everybody in the office
Yeah,
authority.
yeah.
it was all of us, honestly.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
any input, you know,
Yeah,
could be done.
we just basically made it so any of us can put on an event that if we agree or whatever.
Because there was no formal
Yeah.
park and rec committee
Yeah.
that we were able to formulate at the beginning of the year, yeah.
My only concern would be, is there any extended liability with it not being on our property that we own? Bill, is there any kind of, you know, vicarious liability to the village because it's not on village-owned property that we would need to be indemnified by the House of Bounce people or whatever they're called?
Do we need
Well,
insurance?
to piggyback off that, we have them at our Halloween event, over here in the school ground every year. We have for 3 years now.
I questioned it then as well.
Oh, I don't recall that, but
Yeah.
we could always have them sign a waiver like we do everybody else that brings a food truck.
I don't know if we had an insurance policy, small insurance policy that we could get or something.
I was just asking Bill for his legal opinion on the record, so we have. And if you need to look out, I understand.
And your question is,
Is there any
are
vicarious?
we, let me see if I got it right here.
Mhm.
Sorry. Are we responsible for the grounds that we lease?
Not least.
I'm concerned if we are contracting with somebody on a property that is not owned by us, is there any vicarious liability if somebody would break a leg while in the bounce house on property that the village is, I guess, borrowing because we're not paying? I just wanna make sure.
Yeah, no, if we sponsor an event, we would certainly have some liability that attaches. Whether we need a special rider is a question for our insurer. If you give me 2 weeks, Wendy or I will get an answer from the insurance company as to whether we need a rider for special events and bounce houses and things such as that.
And if we do, I think it's a great idea to have one just as an umbrella, just in case.
Cover.
Yeah.
We just need coverage.
I mean, I can't think it would be that expensive
Yeah, no,
for an umbrella policy.
we'll look into it.
We have to have a special meeting anyway prior to the next CAL because of the tax budget, so I would ask, I'm gonna put this on there as well, cause it's August 1st, so we can't wait until August. All right, Wendy, do you mind looking into that? Thank you.
And it would be for the bounce house and any events that we sponsor on the men's club's property.
So question, would we be out of order if we approved it contingent upon a waiver, or that answer would be, I mean, we're just approving,
Well, we need to
we're just
know,
approving.
you need to
Okay.
know what you're voting
Okay.
on before you
All
vote
right.
on it.
Just
I
wanted to-
wouldn't advise you to vote
Okay,
on it
thank you.
until we answer these questions.
Bill, could we also, in relation to that, you know, people that are going to allow their children to be in the bounce houses, would they be able to sign some type of waiver? Because when I take my grandchildren jumping, I have to sign a waiver that if anything happens to them, I assume all responsibility.
You can always have them sign a waiver.
Okay, volunteer.
Shoot, she's maxed out on the volunteering this one.
Okay, next up, we have a presentation by Pickaway County Public Health, Haley Fields.
I'm Kaylee Fields. I'm the office manager at Pickaway County Public Health. And I'm just here to kind of inform you, we have a district advisory council meeting coming up on July 14th. It is at, I believe it's the American Legion next to Taco Bell on 23. It starts at 5:30. District Advisory Council is a group of individuals that are voted upon by villages, townships, and cities in Pickaway County. They vote on funding, and they vote on our board members. And so our ask is that you vote for somebody to show up to this meeting to vote. We are voting on 10% increase of funding. So for you guys, the increase would be $1,462.17 for a year. But your total annual contribution would be $16,083.88. I think you guys have this already. Okay. On the back, there's a breakdown of all of that information. So in that, funding helps us retain our current workforce. It's not to get new people or new programs. This is just to maintain what we have because grant funding is going away. We have seen a ton of cuts in grant funding. So this would just kind of help us maintain that.
Is there padding in that 10%? So we'll have to go back year after year?
So this is just a 10% increase until our end of our contract, which is the end of 27. And then we'll renegotiate with the DAC on true funding. Usually those contracts last about 5 years, 3 to 5 years, depending. But again, that's information that we give out to all of the people that are involved and ask you guys to vote and then bring that vote to us for the DAC meeting. We are also voting on a new board member. So we have 3 new people that have put their name in the hat. We have Natalie Balalo. She is a business owner in Pickaway County. She owns Crown Hill Golf Course out in Williamsport. Also running is her husband, Ray Balalo. He is also the owner of Crown Hill. And then we have another one that was thrown in by Muhlenberg. I'm not sure who that is, but we emailed out some information with bios on those. So if you guys would like to look at that again, I can get it emailed out to you again. The only ask that I ask is that you have an answer for us when you come, and that's usually you have to vote on that. So, and that's next Tuesday. So I don't know how you guys want to go about that. I tried to come last meeting, but
what time is it at?
It's at 5:30.
To clarify, you need an authorized member of council to come and vote on behalf of council.
Correct.
So would that be just like the 911 committee, Bill, where we have to do a legislation appointing somebody?
You're gonna have to do a resolution to appoint someone and authorize them to vote.
Does that, statutorily, can we do that?
To be part of the public health, yeah.
And to vote on behalf of the 6?
Well, you're voting on behalf of
council.
You're basically authorizing expenditure of
Yeah.
another $1,400.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And we need to vote amongst council and have someone there by what date?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
I tried to come last meeting, but we didn't have a quorum, so, and that's kind of why I passed the information
So
along
if it's
before.
next Tuesday, do we have a volunteer?
I actually kind of have no kids next week.
Lucky.
All right. Then I'll make a motion that she's our representative for the health department advisory board. Is that what it is?
District Advisory Council.
That what you.
Yeah. And I
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is,
You said at the American
you-
Legion, right? Okay.
you need, you're gonna need a motion authorizing Courtney to approve of an expenditure of,
$1,462.17
I'll make a motion.
increase.
in addition to,
So the total contribution would be $16,083.88 for the year.
Motion by Jay,
motion by
second.
Jay.
Second.
Point of
Second
order, do we have to do a vote that we accept that before we authorize her to cast that vote, so that we have on the record who votes yes, who votes no, and then we authorize?
Well, I think in authorizing her, you're voting yes or no, but you can take 2 votes if you'd rather.
No, that's up to you, I just wanted to make sure both of them were.
Yeah,
We had a motion by Jay, second by Patricia. All in favor?
Can we be clear on the motion,
Yes.
just to make sure? The motion is to
Is to
approve the increase,
approve.
is that correct?
Approve the increase
Okay.
of $1,462.17 for a total amount of $16,083.88.
Can we add that that is until the end of the contract in 2027?
yeah.
It's
Just-
automatic, it comes out of your tax evaluation,
Right.
so you guys don't even see it.
Oh, I have the paper.
Do you have any questions about public health?
Hold on,
Any-
hold on.
We
Okay,
got a
sorry,
motion and a
sorry.
second.
Got a motion and a second authorizing her to take action at your meeting, so let's finish that and then we'll get to your questions.
We do roll call on that, just to get everybody's vote.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's do roll call. Justin?
Yes.
Courtney?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Patricia?
Yes.
Zeke?
Yes.
Karen?
Now, you were
Any-
saying,
I was just asking if there's any questions about public health or any concerns that I can take back for Commercial Point as a whole, or?
So I do have one, so this was what was identified immediately, right? Because of budget cuts at state and federal level,
Correct.
is that correct? So it fills
Correct.
an immediate need. So piggybacking on Councilman Nungaster, this advisory council will then look at the forecast to determine if those gaps will continue or not. Is that-
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was
Yes,
understood.
so essentially what we do is we take the budget average of our general fund for usually 3 years. Again, it's slowly getting more and more. But we usually take that average and then we say, hey, this is our need. And then we use millage to figure out who pays what. And that's done by the treasurer. We have no say in who pays what.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you
Have a
guys.
good
Have
night.
a wonderful night.
thank you.
Okay, Rockford?
Yeah, I will. I wrote it down.
Everybody see this, for the most part?
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, for allowing us to be on new business today. I took one look at your agenda, and I think that's the largest agenda I've ever seen in my entire life, so I'm going to be as prompt as possible. This has a lot of history to it, and I'm not going to rehash the history. What I'd like to do is...
Interrupt and ask your name.
Oh, yep, sorry. Corey Tarkoff with Rockford Homes. I have Jim Lipnos and Pat Olding also with me here today. Okay, so we have 2 presentation boards right here, and what this is essentially a land use bubble plan. Ezekiel, I know that you're heading up the land use broadening, trying to study the village, and I love that because this is something that as communities grow, they need. And I'll get to this in my conclusion, how important land use plans are. And this is essentially just an area plan that I term the East Side Area Plan for, along 762 and 104. It's been, marketing name so far has been the Struckman Farms. It's been in the village, in some process in one way or the other for the past 4 years, 5 years coming up. Yeah. So what we have here is just a targeted area that I believe is an area of growth and annexation that the village should take seriously when they're looking at their growth patterns, and a corridor that would be critical in the development of the village. There's a lot of development going on in the area, some development that has been debated over and over again. There's a lot of interest in this area with a lot of those uses. So we wanted to sit back, take all the lots off of it, put the connector roads in, and just give you a nice little colored plan and said, this is what land use plans look like. This is what communities do. They get together, they debate, they take a look at what uses are appropriate in the area. What are the surrounding uses? What does the community need? I mean, these are things that you need to ask yourselves now, because what you don't want to do is to react later. You need to have this information publicized so that developers, businesses, community members, people moving into the community all know what the vision is for the village. And so that there's not any misrepresentation of information. It's out there, it's public, it's in a plan that everybody voted on. It's something that you've agreed upon. And so it just gives you a clear path of what to expect. So if I'm moving into Commercial Point, I look at zoning code. If I'm looking at property, I want to know what's around me, what's planned for the area. So there's no question. You know, if I want to live on an estate lot and I want property, I'm going to find an estate lot that's in a zoned area for estate lots and buy as much property as I can around me. If I want to live in a patio home when I'm aged and I don't want to walk up steps, I want to know what's available in the community, what's potentially on the horizon. So that's essentially what this is, our stab at it. And this is unique because normally it's a professional planner that's up here, that's been hired by the village, that's taken polls, put together a plan that charged you guys $500,000. So I'm a developer, and this is not something that we normally do, but my background is in city and regional planning. I worked for Morpsey as a transportation planner, and I also worked for the city of Dublin. It was a part of their community plan expansion and a part of their Road to Wild program, which was critically acclaimed nationwide through the AIA Association. So we sat down with planners, we looked at what made the most sense, and we realized that as a village, there's a lot of things that you have to factor in. You have aging infrastructure, you have folks that moved out to the country, that just wanted to live in the country. Then you have a village that really doesn't provide a lot of housing stock for growing in place. This has 4 different residential units on it. It has multifamily or townhome for a young professional that wants to stay close to home. It has single family, which is the majority of it, it's sub-area A, and I'll get to the specifics of the sub-area here in a second. Then you have an estate move up. So if you got a growing family, you get out of the 3-bedroom, you want a 5-bedroom house. This is side load, natural material, true estate lots. Now, not country estates, but your typical residential estate lots. Then you have a patio home product, which I'm looking at a retirement program right now. Wife and I are downsizing. Now, patio homes aren't for me, but I don't want to do steps anymore. So here's a product line that potentially could solve that. If you go back through a lot of the posts, there's a lot of people in this community that don't want to move. They want to stay here, but there's not anything that's available. So we just took all those factors in and we put together a plan. Now, a lot of people think this is all going to happen at once. This is an area plan, long-range plan. Currently right now, there's nobody contracted on any of those parcels. We're out of contract. Right now, I have 0 vested interest in this. I'm here today because I'd like to, but I need some information from you guys and see what your thoughts are if this is a viable project. Because if that's the case, then we are very interested in this community. We'd love to come back and present more detailed plans, and sub-area D in particular. So I'm going to get into this real quick. So with this being as large as it is, we thought when we met with staff that it might make more sense to come at this in stages, as if you're doing a community plan. You need to analyze each individual stage, and you don't want to get bogged down with, oh, what does that look like? Well, we're not there, what aesthetics look like. We're at what uses look like. Then we'll get to infrastructure. Then we'll get into the financing component and how this is self-sustaining, that it wouldn't impact any current resident person in the village. This is all encompassing. It can be expanded. So that would be like the second meeting. Let's talk about utilities. I heard today that the Gibson Road sewer plant is at capacity. This solves the problem. And let me tell you, that's an expensive problem. 4 years ago, it was $3 million. Imagine what it's like right now. So that would be the second meeting. Let's identify infrastructure needs and how we can help the village accomplish what they need so taxpayers aren't paying for downstream issues that's currently in the village and what would be something that could cost the village general fund additional monies and potential rate increases on utility providers, or users I should say. Last one, which is going to be the most complicated, is the financial component to it. And we looked at this initially, and we had TIF, school made whole. We're not taking money from the schools, and we have an NCA. The NCA is just on this property. This additional millage, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, the CDA, NCA, that they pay. That money generated will then help pay for the utility infrastructure, upgrades, oversizing, lift station, regional lift station, and not to mention community amenities. And get into the real nitty gritty, I can show you all the fun stuff that was planned in this thing. Then we need to really focus on density because that's going to be a question that is brought up, but it plays a major role in the financial modeling of it. With that, we would like to, if we get this far, engage with a legal firm that Village Council trusts, and we would sit down with them and model this out, have them check our assumptions, so there's 100% transparency. You're not getting the wool pulled over your eyes with the secret millage or something else getting paid for, or us over-promising that it's going to generate $150 million when it only generates 20, as an example. So that would be like the third step in this process.
So you're open to clawbacks and things like that if we would get that far?
Oh yeah. So, to have these discussions in a structured environment where there's an agenda, it just helps to have everybody on the same page so that it leads to a productive session. If we start wanting to talk finances and then we start talking landscaping, we got sidetracked, and then nothing really good came out of this meeting. We're not getting any production out of it. The final one, if we really get to the point, and this is where a lot of the money starts kicking in, because our first go around, I think we were north of $350,000 just in professional fees. We have a lot of studies done, but they're going to have to be redone. It's 4 or 5 years old. So I need some input to see if this is something that you're willing to discuss and that you could get behind and think long term, because we have to go through that process again. And writing off another $350,000 doesn't look good on anybody's financial. So here we are on the site. That was my spiel. I'm just going to go through the site's specific items. It's just under 400 acres, 396 acres. Sub-area A is commercial. It's 21.12 acres. We felt this is an appropriate location for a commercial corridor. This sizable parcel could house a grocery store, have outlots, could have a restaurant, have ancillary commercial, retail uses. It's whatever we think of, whatever sort of uses we want to put in as approved, we could put it in this text, and it would govern this land. So you don't have some crazy land use coming in later, and then you're having to deal with a bunch of meetings and you're not really behind it. This is the rules. You either abide by them or see ya. So that's the benefit of PUD in a very restrictive text. We've drafted this initially, and it is very comprehensive. It's its own book. So there's nothing, no gray area there. And we've spent a significant amount of money with our attorneys to make sure that when we go to interpret it either from an HOA perspective or the village zoning inspector. It's very clear. All right, the next one, which is new, Severi B, it's a private school site. And I've been told, I don't know the level of interest, but I've been told that there are two potential folks that are very interested in this piece. So now we're talking some educational uses in the area that provide options for the community.
Sir, would you guys be willing to look at our TCD zoning? This sounds like a perfect fit, where it is literally, I know that has street comparisons, but this sounds like it would be more smooth to go through that process because there are already guardrails there for this exact type of thing.
I will tell you, I'm not familiar with your TC zoning, but our TCD.
Yes, sir, TCD.
I will look it up.
Yep, thank you.
If it definitely can streamline a process, I'm more than interested.
I'm not guaranteeing a streamlining, I'm just saying
Okay.
that it is already set up and has the guardrails for the way the streets are, what has to be included.
Sure.
And it would truly have to be self-sufficient to meet that code.
Okay.
So,
I'll definitely look at it. I will say that the level of aesthetics and how it carries through this, the initial thought, is, I don't want to compare it to something that's being developed right now because I don't want to give you any preconceived notions, but we're developing an Evans Farm. Each phase of Evans Farm, it has certain things that you have to carry through so that the community has an overall look. And so we went so far as the fencing, the street light types, the stone colors, the type of stone for the entry features. The features have to resemble exactly as they're drawn. The font type, size of the signs, the entire thing, it was quite comprehensive, but I will definitely look into that. Thank you.
and I know that one of the things that Jay and I endured during the little boat we were involved with was those outward-facing homes that face Gibson Road. Did you look into, will those pencil as 1 acre lots facing out so that those people will not look at a subdivision, the outside should be 1 acre lot homes, or if they can't pencil, it can't pencil. But I know that was one of the big pushbacks, was they don't want to look across and see a 0.22 acre thing when they've got a $2 million home across the street.
I think that becomes then a question of the number of curb cuts you can have on Gibson, because as it was originally, and I don't want to go too down in the weeds on this discussion, but we did what I would term a service road where it was single loaded, where the houses would face. So that is way more expensive from a development perspective. They got double all the utilities, double the road, and I'm only getting return on one house on it essentially versus two facing the road. So I definitely look at it, but this is the type of discussions that if that's something that the village holds very true to their heart, that they feel strongly about, then that's a conversation that we have at that concept stage. But right now, it's like, is the use appropriate? I mean, do you want to see a pig farm here? Do you want to see a data center here? Do you want to see residential community? You want to see commercial? Well, you need the rooftops. Everybody understands it. I'm not going to build a business without the number of folks that can support it. So we have to think in those mindsets, essentially. Severi C, and I'm going to get through this quick because, like I said, I want to make this quick. And hopefully, please, if you could provide as much comment as you're comfortable giving, I would respect that greatly. Thank you. Community C, Severi C, this is Community Park, 10 acres. Severi D is the 246 acre conventional single family. Severi E is a single family estate. It is roughly 42.8 acres. Severi F is the patio residential first floor living, 40 acres. Severi G is the multifamily or townhome, 15.36 acres. These acreages can move based on us working together to try to figure out what makes the most sense.
We changed the acreage on the park.
We did. Originally it was 17 acres. There was concern with the size of it, that they wanted it reduced a little bit.
We did?
Yes, that was the feedback that we received the last time around.
I'm just wondering why we would give property away as a village. I think that was crazy in my opinion. If somebody's willing to give you an extra 7 acres on a 17 acre park, why would I give you 7 acres back at the price of the land?
I-
I mean, we'll never be able to afford that kind of park.
I think that might have been a concern, if that was gonna be a budgetary concern.
No, I'm saying we couldn't buy a park, because we don't have the kind of money to buy a park. The 17, or extra 7 acres, we can't afford to buy. I mean, with $20,000 an acre, we can't afford that as a village. So when somebody's giving it to you, why would you give it back?
You know what, as a land planner and a developer, when I was told to reduce the amount of open space, I was kind of thrown back in my chair as well.
Why? Because I remember it was the 17, it got moved to 10, and then we got it moved back to 17.
Now, this
On
is
the
the
last
last month, but
We just had to figure out where to plug in a school. This is all negotiable.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. You took the school,
Yes.
you took the acreage for the
Yes,
school.
this is all negotiable, and we
I don't
also
understand.
threw in the 5 to 10 acres on the other property.
I just don't think we ought to give 7 acres back.
well, like I said, I mean, if we're agreeable on the use, then yeah, let's have that discussion. I'm all for the constructive discussion.
About this, basically.
Have you appeared before Zeke's committee yet?
Wendy appeared before us, and presented something very similar, it looks like, but it was, I think the previous iteration,
Yep.
it was a little bit, it wasn't the bubbles, but it looks very.
Yeah, the main spine roads are there. We just took out all the little ones. Because the idea is once someone outside of Rockford is interested in the sub area, they have to operate within the textual terms, and they'll have to connect points, and we'll make sure that they have the number of units that is required to support the NCA or CDA. But they can switch up that site plan as much as they can with your input.
Would you be available and willing to also come and present the
Yes.
this month or next month?
Yes, this month's fine.
Okay.
The 15th. 15th. Let me check my schedule when we're done.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. The next item is sub-area H. This is a commercial piece that also has frontage out on 762. This is what we term as a neighborhood commercial. So these uses could be a small institutional, a small church, business, offices, a cohatch, dentist office, medical office, you name it. It's one of those things, a barber shop. You know, there's a multitude of uses, but it just kind of made sense with the accessibility and connectivity in that area, because the pod is so small, it would make a whole lot of sense to just cram a bunch of houses in it. So, as you can see, this is just a land use plan. It has various uses in the plan, primarily residential, but needed to support commercial uses. The overall total open space in this plan is 93 acres. It's hard to tell on the scale. You'd think I'm a liar, but it's 93 acres. Some of those ponds down at the main entry off State 104 are huge. I mean, they're 18 acres. So, sorry, 18 acres combined. There's 2 nines on either side. The walking paths in this current plan, not to say that it can't get larger or more, but it's 3.5 miles. That is just in walking paths. So there's connectivity within this area plan. You can get from one end to the next and get all of your steps in that day. Then if you want to walk on the sidewalks, you've got miles of sidewalks. So this plan provides housing stock for multiple age groups. Not having the uses for multiple age groups will age a community out of existence. Young adults have no place to rent or purchase their first time home. Growing families don't have options for various house sizes. Aging adults have 0 options for first floor living. So not having options will force young adults to move out of their community. Aging adults are forced to find first floor living or non-maintenance living outside of the commercial point, essentially. Having a plan in place is not a terrible thing when you consider planning is for the future. So I'm going to read you one thing here, and then I'm going to conclude. Here are the key benefits for long-range land use plan. And there's validity to this, so no booing, please. The plan guides where to build pipes, roads. This prevents cities from paying for sudden repairs. It ensures money is spent on smart growth. Prevents crowded schools and traffic by predicting population growth in towns, in small villages, and municipalities with land use plans. Schools know how to plan for the future. They see this as a plan that this is how the village is going to grow. And they see developments come online, well, then they should start planning because it's right here in front of them. They can't say that, well, you just blindsided me. This came in at midnight. You guys approved it. Nope. It's been here the entire time. It protects property values, just like I alluded to earlier. The plan creates clear zones for houses, stores, and parks. This stops loud factories from being built next to quiet homes. Companies want certainty. The plan shows business owners where they can build and how the area will grow. And then lastly, saves nature. Planners map out hills, rivers, forests, and make rules to keep these safe from building damage. So with that, I'm going to conclude, and thank you once again. And whatever information you can provide myself, Jim, and Pat, is greatly appreciated.
So I have two comments that I want to bring up just by looking at this here. So it kind of harkens me before being on council and working with Councilman Nungaster and a couple other councilmen, the previous land use committee, and identifying ideas and concepts for the future of our village, right?
Yep.
And mixed use was one of the, if I do remember, was top of the list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just a bunch of homes, but how do we scale up, or how do we, what, I forget the term you use, but you level up from, you know, your executive for your, it depends on where you're at in your life, right? So you're
right,
and you see some of those things, plus also opportunities for any retail, commercial, offices, things like that. You have that on the frontage at 762. The second comment I'll make is, I do see from when Ms. Struckman, sorry,
It's okay.
Ms. Sizemore, came in and took feedback from community members, and we had our land use committee. So I do identify some things from a previous version to what some feedback that she gained and some concerns that were there that were incorporated in some of this. So from my perspective, I think the discussion is a good opportunity to be had to move forward, to get more community feedback, to see where some of those concerns from community members that live in that area, that live in our village, that can speak to say, hey, look, can we do this? Can we do this? To get that feedback as well. So I certainly think that we should have those conversations.
I appreciate that, and I think that's a great forum, what you're doing, and this is a great conversation we should have in that forum, because a structured environment is always a good thing. We had it at the Ben's Club, and it just got out of hand because there was a lot of misinformation that had been said about this project.
Can you share that information with our comprehensive plan team?
This, yes.
And that kind of leads into, I guess, my concern or my question, and since Brendan is here, is like, I guess how would this kind of play into the comprehensive plan in its current state where it's at right now? You didn't know he was.
No, I did not.
I'm
sorry. Put him out. Sorry.
I'm watching his
reaction
as you're talking.
So, we'd be happy to coordinate either in individual stakeholder hearing meetings. We had about a dozen of those already that went really well. We also, we've got a tentative date for the steering committee that was selected at the last meeting. We're very excited to be able to start doing some of the bubble mapping, conceptual placements of things throughout the community. This is something that we make sure was part of the information that they were ingesting before starting to put things on paper. But yeah, the best thing I can offer right now is just dedication to coordination with the team here to make sure that we're making ourselves available as the community tool to bring you guys something that meshes together with all the things that are being discussed. So,
But at this stage, this kind of thing would not interfere or hinder anything that you guys are doing.
No, at this stage, what they're doing is something that, in order to continue to keep the community moving forward, you all behind the dais should be listening, absorbing, trying to call these plays in the same way that you always have. We'll make sure that these things are synthesized and included in the plan that's being pulled together. And then ultimately, what will get generated is something that is in lockstep together with anything that's being discussed right now. So yeah, no, the approach that's being taken from a planning perspective is it's the baby steps approach, like he was describing, and yeah, we're happy to coordinate and make sure that either through individual meetings or in participation in the group open houses that are to be scheduled, that this sort of feedback is incorporated into what the steering committee then brings to you as recommendations.
Are you still, do you have more questions? I have a couple things. One, you got all red because you didn't know he was here and you made a knock to him. I will say I didn't appreciate that. We asked him to make a plan for us and you came up here and insulted our decision. Also, I have to say, we have talked about this collectively as a council and tabled some of our other developments and conversations with them because of the whole data center issue. I don't see how we can make a good decision in good faith to continue to build more homes, more areas, a school even at that, when we don't know what we're gonna find out yet. So I think we need to treat some things are already approved, so zoning wise, this is not one of them. I think we need to treat every situation fairly, where if we're gonna table something that has already been zoned, we need to have a much bigger discussion on the money we're spending for the plan that this gentleman pointed out, and letting them do their job and the community do what we wanted them to do, as well as doing what we said we were gonna do and do our research on a data center for our community. So that's gonna be my piece on this.
Have you built any communities in like similar proximity to data centers that you know of?
We have not. Data centers are a relatively new use that have come to the state, and no, we have not.
So would you anticipate, because this would be in relatively close proximity to a potential data center site, what do you foresee that being an issue of any kind? I know that the gentleman from MI, just going to be directly adjacent to it, said that they did not think that it would be an issue for them, but
I haven't built yet, but we have a piece in Marysville. And with that piece in particular, the zoning was done so that there's substantial setbacks, and the setback mounding was not just your typical 5-foot mound. It was, I think, a 25-foot mound with like a 100-foot setback and planted with mature trees, so not having to wait 15 years to do any sort of screening of a 35-foot tall wall. So that was critical. We haven't started building there, but it is a rental project. Now, as far as this particular site, with data centers not being directly adjacent, I don't perceive that being an issue, not to mention the thematic component that was initially proposed in this, with just the overall feel of the community. I think that kind of sheds a lot of the negative aspect when you're driving through some of the data center corporate parks to get to where you're living.
Okay.
So we can look at the expanse, so everybody can picture where this is. This is involves the east and west side of Gibson Road, and we'll have an entrance on 104 just north of Lighthouse Church. Is that correct?
That's
Is it south?
Yeah.
Or
South, yeah.
Yeah. So it's, we're not talking about a small area. That's that's really spread out. So some of this can be considered close to other things, but other ones is another half a mile away.
Correct. Yep. Yes. If they decide to do something right across 104, right at the main entry, then yeah. That's your next door neighbor. But I don't know if there's any plans for doing that right now.
Mine's for sale. It's been for sale
Not
for
in
a
this
while.
particular property, but yes, there are in other ones. So hence the trepidation and concern.
Gotcha.
Is the green space road all the way on the out where it says future connection? What road is that right now? Walker Road? Or is that a road you're gonna build? No, the green, next to the greens, through the green space.
I don't think it's a road.
I think it's wooded area.
So it's a road that you guys
This
would
right
be
here?
building?
No.
No,
She's
there's
saying
a
where the
road,
future
there's a
connection-
road. Right here. This, or is this not a road? This.
No, that's
That's
property
property line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I see the top real quick? So I couldn't see it that far away. So this is Walker here.
And that's where it looks like the future connection would go to, is what he's considering. Okay.
And that was just something that we thought that might make the most sense, but, I mean, it could be moved.
I have two questions for you, Avery. Thank you so much for your presentation. My first question, I just want to make sure I understood earlier. Would other builders be building homes potentially, or this would be strictly a Rockford home community?
Initially, our only interest was in sub-area D.
Okay.
And then the landowners have the ability to, of course, market all the other zoned property. The reason why this is atypical, we would typically zone just our sub-area. But the property owners had a portion of their property on the west side of Gibson already annexed into the city. And we looked at that and saw where the utilities were having to come through there, and just made good planning sense to try to build something cohesive and an opportunity to just do a little bit of a larger rezoning on their behalf.
And then my second question is if this project went through, do you see Rockford being willing to be upfront with people that wanted to build a home to say, hey, there's a potential data center that could be built X amount of miles within your home?
I don't know that we can hide any information if we know that. I don't know that we have a pamphlet that we could hand out to them, like if you're building next to power lines that AEP gives you that says you're okay, just so long as you're not underneath the easement. But I can't say never ever.
You
I
can
mean,
put an
because-
addendum to your contract.
We could do an addendum to the contract, of course, but then what happens if the moratorium goes away and the code got rezoned and those uses are now permittable, and now when we said that, you know,
It says potential is what you're gonna say.
potential would be the only language that we could say, yeah.
Timing wise, we're 18 months plus from you putting the house in the ground with all the stuff that has to be done prior to it to even support this. So honestly, by the time you sell your first house, we'll know whether there's a data center or not. So the disclosure will be by the data center sitting there.
Yeah,
I mean,
potentially.
give me an idea, are we 24 months from actual shovel in the ground for a basement? Are we 36 months?
I mean, that's all contingent on the entitlement period, honestly.
Well, it's
It
14
takes-
months just to get through by our timing, I believe.
Was it 14? It takes 3 rounds of review and resubmission on engineering typically, which is 6 months. And then it's any size of a phase you build in central Ohio. For some reason, it seems like it takes 6 months. And then our build time is anywhere from 285 days to 300.
And in the meantime, you or somebody would have to be doing the infrastructure upgrade because that would have to be finished before you could even think
Well,
of getting home ready, right?
no, actually, the way this would work, and we could definitely talk about this in the utility meeting, but the regional lift station is going to be at the main entry off 104. It'll be built coming through this way. Then once it gets up here with the gravity system that's oversized all the way through to take this offline and the entire west side of the village, that it has to come through here. Unless, say for example, hypothetically, landowners sell this, they need service and they want to drag it, they're done. But that's how it flows. And then the water itself too, because of the draw on this and the need for pressure and circulation, we're also looping this system and coming out to 762 at the request of the utility department.
One thing I would bring up too, that you may or may not be aware of it, but the land use committee, we recently saw a presentation for a residential property that would be or development that would be adjacent to this somewhat.
We've heard
And one of the
right out
things-
here.
It's, they're
The-
over
the-
a little
it's the
further,
Zoom
but it's
box,
underneath,
nice.
it's underneath
Right.
the
Yeah.
location.
Over here?
Yes, yeah, those, that one and then the one
above it.
above it to the right.
Yeah, I think they're gonna try to get up into that sewer.
Well, one of the things that they had talked about, that I just think would be,
We'd be
worth
willing to look at
considering
interconnectivity.
was having kind of an adjacent kind of access road that ran along 762.
Mm-hmm. Service road?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that.
So, just something to possibly consider incorporating.
Yep.
I would say that landowner has already been presented that with the previous administration and is 100% on board, allowing that front area to be used as an entrance. So we only have to have one curb cut to get people from 762 back onto an access road to possibly get into that. I don't know if they're still willing, but in the original talks,
Okay.
with the last administration, they were okay with allowing that to be kind of an open area for the village to use the transition because it really wasn't buildable, but the back part is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something you could coordinate or, you know.
We had some high-level conversations, because we had heard some rumblings about that, and the service road, now that you mentioned it, struck a memory chord with me. I think that makes a lot of sense to do stuff like that. You're taking the traffic load off 762 and bringing the traffic internal to the site, so turning movements a lot easier, not adding an additional light. I will say, when we studied this, there are some significant road improvements that this project would be responsible for.
And Mr. Hill is aware of those talks, because I talked to him well before he was hired as a lifelong friend and a specialist to ask him. So I'm sure that you could shed light, you know, as to how that ties in.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Just coordinate with
Thank you.
very much. Okay. I'm going to turn this next turn over to Council President Fox.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I take no joy in this next business item that we're going to discuss. However, when mistakes or errors in judgments are made, recognition and reconciliation are paramount to rebuild trust and credibility, especially when it comes to public officials. In our role, it's not whether you're right or wrong, funny or smart, but whether people can trust in you. When you argue, patronize, degrade, or demean someone, it works out exactly 0 times. In our collective service, these actions reflect poorly on the body as a whole, not just one individual. The integrity and character of the messenger means way more than the legislation we debate or the votes that we cast. It helps to set the foundation of reliability that our community expects from us. My words tonight are not for condemnation or animosity, but as an opportunity for reflection and course correction. Civility cannot be legislated. However, we must demand it. With that said, I'm going to read the following motion of public censure. For the record, I want to make sure that the date is reflective of July 6, 2026. Council member misconduct, violation of rules of decorum, ethical misconduct, or ethical conduct. Section 1, finding of facts. The Council of the Village of Commercial Point hereby finds and determines that rules of decorum adopted by the village require all elected officials to conduct themselves with professionalism, respect, and civility during all public meetings and in all interactions related to the performance of their official duties. On May 18, 2026, during a duly convened public meeting of council, Councilmember Eric Nungaster directed comments deemed offensive, misogynistic, and demeaning towards fellow Councilmember Denton in relation to her appearance, in violation of the village's standards of decorum, and the expectation of respectful discourse among elected officials. On a separate occasion, following the April 20th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting, during a personal conversation held inside council chambers, 2 council members who were present reported that Council Member Eric Nungaster used a derogatory and racist terminology indicated as the N-word. Conduct that is incompatible with the ethical obligations of public office and damaging to the integrity of village government. Such conduct undermines public trust, creates a hostile and unprofessional environment for elected officials and staff, and is inconsistent with the values and expectations of the Village of Commercial Point. Section 2, determination of misconduct. Based on the foregoing findings, the Council of Village Commercial Point hereby determines that Council Member Eric Nungaster has violated the rules of decorum governing conduct during public meetings, engaged in offensive, misogynistic, and derogatory and racist speech that constitutes misconduct unbecoming an elected official. It failed to uphold the standards of professionalism, respect, and ethical behavior required of members of council. Section 3, public censure. The Council of the Village of Commercial Point hereby formally and publicly censures Councilmember Eric Nungaster for the conduct described herein. This censure represents the council's official expression of disapproval and condemnation of the council member's actions. This motion of public censure shall be entered into official minutes of council, be read aloud during a regular meeting, such as now. Serve as official notice that further misconduct may result in additional actions permitted under Ohio law and village policy, up to and including motion for removal from office. Section 4, for future conduct. Expectations for future conduct. Councilmember Eric Nungaster is hereby directed to conduct himself in full compliance with the village's council rules, including rules of decorum, all applicable laws, refrain from any future conduct that is discriminatory, harassing, or disrespectful toward any council member, staff member, or member of the public, participate in a training session class directly related to respectful workplace conduct or anti-harassment standards. The training shall be provided at the expense of the village with a certificate of completion to be received by the village within 90 days of the passage of this motion. The effective date of this censure will be take effective immediately upon its adoption. Now, that would be the motion. I do want to make, before I do ask for a second, I do want to make a note that this motion does not remove any authority that is inherent in the position of council member, nor does it affect any current or future committee assignments for Councilman Nungaster. I do want to reiterate that Councilman Nungaster has provided a rebuttal to be on public record. He did earlier provide a rebuttal during his section, and I do ask that if there's any follow-up after or before the vote is taken, that he is permitted to do any follow-up comments as well. Now I ask for a second on the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Eric,
Abstain?
Jay,
Abstain.
Patricia,
Yes.
Courtney.
Yes.
Point of order, who called for the roll call vote? I believe I heard Councilman Dustin Fox, this is not his meeting.
I called roll call.
I heard his voice.
You did. It was the mayor.
Called roll call.
And you didn't say roll call?
I was reiterating what she said. I
I
used the
think he
terms
said
roll call as
before
a
the roll call, if you have anything to say. Okay. Motion passed.
I would like to state that I want to know the statutory authority that allows you to assign any extra meetings or anything to me. There isn't one. This is not enforceable. You cannot make me attend a class at anybody's expense. Can I have statutory authority that you feel that gave you that, Councilman or Council President Dustin Fox, to assign that? I would also like to know the statutory authority that you used to come up with this without doing a full investigation and even contacting me until you paraded it as what it was. Just asking for a statutory authority that you used to do this and to demand an extra class. This was what you're doing, is what you told me.
there is no statutory authority that demands that class. It was within the motion that is being requested that was passed.
Okay, so you're telling me that you're gonna enforce that? I need a statutory authority that allowed that. If you're gonna wear your big boy pants, let's put them on.
I'm saying within.
I am respectful, man.
I think that was my meeting.
That was demeaning, that's your warning. If we have another demeaning comment from anybody up here, you're going to be removed. Please refer to our council rules under a decorum.
Are you gonna answer, sir?
You were provided with the information that you had requested previous for that. And if you wish not to take that, that's gonna be upon you, sir.
Fair enough.
With that, Councilman Nunderser, do you have?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Time out. You submitted on the agenda a censure for me from him. So I believe since it was on the agenda and you submitted it with the agenda, I should be able to say my response to the censure that he placed on the agenda, wanted on the agenda for the special meeting, and wrote a whole big long thing about it, but now nothing. So I believe, am I allowed to say my response since he put that into public record?
No. I submitted that to be attached until all the comments that were made that are brought in question are either fully proven as false or admitted as not true.
Oh, here you go.
Order is it, since it's not your meeting either, do you get to tell her what she can and can't do then?
No, I just simply said that's what it was put in for. I didn't ask for it to be.
She asked a question which I think was directed to the mayor.
Yes, he did. The mayor, did he not ask for it to be put on?
He wanted to censure.
Thank you. Yes, you did.
So
So,
that's going to.
okay, thank you. So, for those of you that don't know, on the agenda, why it says censure council members with an S is because Councilman Nungesser submitted a 10-page write-up to censure me for my comments, which I did make a statement on at the last meeting. I also had that statement prepared for the meeting before that we could not have because we didn't have a quorum. So, I'm going to respond first. One of the things that Councilman Nungesser said was that he did not feel like the process was followed, the same process for him to be censured as for me to be censured. That is not correct. He came a month after with his concerns about my comments made. He went to President Fox. President Fox did the same investigation that he did upon people requesting Councilman Nungesser to be censured, which, by the way, was not just council members, it was the community as well. And President Fox did his investigation, minus me. I wasn't included in it. He asked everyone to take a look at the video from that meeting. They did, or at the time, whether they felt like they wanted to or not, all of them said they did not find any wrongdoing. I also, myself, rewatched the video multiple times. So Councilman Nungesser had 8 line items for reasons of why I should be censured. So I have a rebuttal to each, or a reasoning, or whatever, for each line item. During the video, I asked Councilman Nungesser multiple questions. The reason I had to do that publicly was because the first time I addressed him, which he spoke upon just now and said that me and Councilman Miller held him here, that's a complete lie. This officer was present. In fact, during Councilman Nungesser's statement, he even said that's not true. I was standing right in front of Councilman Nungesser. Zeke was standing in his seat. We were talking. Councilman Nungesser blurted out the racial slur during our conversation. At that point, the officer then said on his own, "We're going to wrap this up right now," as to his shock, just like ours. I then tried to still ask Councilman Nungesser why he was doing the things he was doing. He did not. He gave us a bunch of reasonings. It was a personal conversation about something. He was pulling public records on my home from an incident in 2020. I have the police report if anyone wants it. It's less than 5 sentences long. The thing that he was saying about the incident is not substantiated, and he was making a claim. We were asking him what he wanted with the police report. Basically, he stated that he wanted it to know what happened But when he got the police report to see there was nothing there for anything, he then got mad that he had to pay for the video. He wanted the video of what happened. He wanted the camera footage and was upset he had to pay for it. So then I tried to address that privately. I actually exited the building before Mr. Nuncaster exited the building, so there's no way I could have held him here by any means. And the last thing he said to me was, I don't want you to trust me then. After which Mayor Geiger also was present for that part. After I had mentioned to him, like, I'm trying to get some type of trust here with you. That's why I'm coming to you, not publicly. I will never not address him in public again. I said that at the last meeting. I am not going to have someone lie about me, my family, plot against me. I was told in January of this year by the local social media influencer's wife, Mr. Nuncaster contacted him and asked him to do a story on me and my family in this incident that occurred. He also failed to mention that it was 6 years ago. And when I gave the social media influencer the police report, he was blown away that there was nothing there. Nothing. Literally, I think it's 3 sentences long. So that is how I became aware of Mr. Nuncaster trying to rumble in the background or stir something up against me and my family. That's how I found out about that. So that is why I addressed those things publicly. Thankfully, I was told about that. At that time, I told Mayor Geiger and President Fox the information that had been given to me. I let them know. It wasn't until April that I learned that he actually decided to take matters into his own hands. I asked him about it privately. Again, like I said, the conversation was met with confrontation. After the incident, I decided I would never again ask the councilman anything in private. It was against my better judgment in the first place, and I still gave it a chance, even after knowing all those months that he had something against me personally. I addressed this last week in my speech. That was not, my speech was not prompted by anyone or anything except my own integrity, and that I purposely used the word rumblings. Not once did I say there was facts to prove anything illegal was done by the councilman. I did state there's an ethics complaint filed because I was told there was one made by some constituents. That was filed before I publicly said anything. The letter from the previous mayor also implicated council members as well. His resignation letter resurfaced, and bam, here we are. I also was told things previously by other council members and former council members as well. Number 2, I did ask the councilman some questions pertaining to staying at the home of Billy Scala in Florida. I asked the question. I did also ask some other questions, but I never said he actually took money or gifts from a developer. I also never brought up Bruce Moore in a way to say there was anything illegal going on with him. I asked who the phone call came from about the fire truck, and Councilman Nuncaster said himself it was from Bill Scala. I also did apologize if I offended anyone. That was not my intention. I also have spoke to some of the other people and let them know as well that was not my intention also. Number 3, I never once said Jim Kozelka's name. I never said he said anything in official capacity as the village zoning administrator. In fact, I never used his name on purpose. I said, by your stepdad. Not everybody in Commercial Point knows everybody's family tree. I just found out Paula's your sister. Never knew. So, not everybody knows. I purposely didn't put Jim's name in it on purpose. However, the reason I said that was because the person he had made comments to has since came out and told others the comments Jim had told him. In fact, one of them, he told the developer himself where the comments came from. So, that's that. Number 4, I never once said anything regarding Councilman Nuncaster and the lawsuit with the township. I rewatched the video many times. Never once said anything about a lawsuit with Councilman Nuncaster and the township. The video, however, since you brought it up, Councilman Nungaster did file a civil rights violation against the township, not a lawsuit, in fact. I do not know where that total process stands as of now. The township was advised that this is what happens before a lawsuit would occur. I'm not a lawyer, I'm only repeating what's been communicated to me. Number 5, I was shown the text message from Councilman Nungaster to Trustee Ralph Wolf by Trustee Wolf. We were having lunch together with President Fox when Trustee Wolf asked us when he would be getting his fire truck. We both looked confused, and that's when the text message got brought up, because we were like, what are you talking about? We have no idea, Ralph, what you're even referring to. That's when the text message got brought up. Councilman Nungaster also admitted, because I asked him who the text message was from, that it was real. He in fact said it was not falsified, it was real messages from a phone call from Bill Scala. Number 8, the rumblings I spoke of are number 6, my bad. Number 6, again, I never said anything about Bruce Moore. I did not imply or say he did anything illegal. It's all on tape. Number 7, Councilman Nungaster is saying my comments made his family LLC lose money. Those claims are not substantiated. There is no proof of that at all. Also, I just want to add, when you become an elected official, you sign up for what happens. There possibly could be effects of this that affect your personal life and vice versa. Your personal life could affect this. It goes both ways. It's kind of what you sign up for. And I also don't understand that that's not a grounds for me being censured if a family LLC lost money that hasn't been proven. The number 8, the rumblings I spoke of are absolutely not based on a joke. In fact, the previous mayor's resignation letter spoke of things happening. I don't think he just pulled that in a resignation letter as a joke, nor did other community members have things to say. I don't think anyone thought it was a joke. It's not a joke at all. Possibly they're not true, but no one said any of those things are funny. Any context that is needed as far as the rumblings or whatever, I can and will provide that upon request. I will give you the courtesy of not, or others of not saying certain things. With that being said, I find no reason as to how council could censure me. I don't need a bunch of codes or a 10-page AI explanation. This is all my words. I have hard facts, a video recording, no complaints from the public or other council members. I believe this is simply just an attack against me, and I have this printed off for you to enter into a public record.
All right. Thank you. Move on. First reading. Ordinance number 2026-17, an ordinance authorizing the utility billing department to accept new utility customers for water and sewer services solely with property owners and to convert all existing tenant contracts into property owners' names within a period of 12 months. First reading only.
Title only?
Title only,
Can I
sorry.
ask a question?
Yes.
We're not changing the people's names on the bill, we're just changing the responsibility, correct? If you have rental property.
The
I'm
bill
not
will
paying
go to
that.
the property owner. Correct? Wendy? I didn't hear the question. Do you want, he's asking about, like, change the property owners, the bill will go to the property owners?
So everybody that has rental property, the bills are gonna come straight to me, or to them?
It will go straight to the property owner. We have about 12 months to get all of that converted. Once you guys approve this, anybody new coming on board will make it in the landlord's name to start. But anybody that's already in the renter's name will probably take 6 months to a year to get those converted.
And then it's the property owner's responsibility to bill. Basically, they'll have to figure out how that's in there.
That's all
Okay.
up to them.
Okay.
Yeah, the landowner will be responsible.
Okay.
to pay the bill.
Okay.
Okay. Ordinance number 2026-18, an ordinance amending the zoning code of the Village of Commercial Point, Ohio, to repeal and replace section 648.11 of the zoning code as to noise.
A question about that, there was, I think in the agenda, it was not right, noise ordinance?
I sent out, Dustin
It
had,
was updated. During the conversion, there was some numerical misalignment through the conversion. So that's why it doesn't change the text. There was just some odd numbering. So it was converting from, I think, Word or Docs to PDF, and that's where the conversion went. So the updated version that you got emailed should reflect that.
okay, title only. Resolution number 25-2026, a resolution determining that a petition to establish the Commercial Point New Community Authority is sufficient and complies with the requirements of section 349.03 of the Ohio Revised Code in form and substance, setting the time and place for a hearing on the petition and authorizing the notice by publication of such hearing and declaring an emergency.
Question, Mayor. I just want to make sure. So this is just for a petition for, we're not approving an NCA or anything. This is for the first step for us to
Yes.
identify for a petition, and then public hearing, would that be?
After it is read, we have 30 to 45 days to set a hearing. That's why it has emergency. When that public hearing comes, we will then, listen, and then we'll have a special meeting. That will be the first reading of the NCA, and that cannot have it doesn't have to have emergency language, and it can go all 3 readings.
Okay.
This is literally just to have a hearing on it.
My apologies if I interrupted that. I just wanted to make sure
No,
that
that's fine.
I understood that correct. Thank you.
Do I have a motion to waive?
To waive the readings, to have the public hearing,
Yes.
motion to waive.
Motion by Courtney, second. Second by Patricia.
Discussion.
Yes.
Since this is a resolution and we're not worried about when it takes effect for enforcement, I don't understand the need for the declaring emergency. We could pass it, you could still move forward. It still allows for 30 days for referendum. I don't see anybody doing a referendum, but I just don't see a use for the declaring emergency. This is kind of like the time frame for service agreements.
Yeah.
And it was determined that we didn't need them for that because it was a resolution. So I'd make a, well, I can't.
This is from our, Adam Seeley sent me, I actually spoke with him today as well, and said that this is how it has to be done, because I asked him.
That was the advice you got from
That
Bricker?
was the advice I got from Bricker, yes.
Okay.
So,
I have no reason to doubt his advice.
I think
Yeah,
part of it has to do with the timing of getting the notifications in the newspaper. You have to have it in there 3 different weeks.
consecutive weeks.
And that starts next week.
Yeah.
So waiting the 30 days would not allow me to move forward with getting the postings.
Right.
I don't think waiving the emergency would make us wait 30 days on the resolution, because we can continue to move forward while that would be challenged, and then if it's found that it was incorrect, then it would stop. If I'm wrong, correct me, Bill, but I don't think we would have to do that.
Yeah, I'm relying on what Bricker told
And I have it in email as well.
the mayor, and they're saying that it's gotta come this way because we've gotta advertise.
So is your understanding then that in order for you to act on something before those 30 days have elapsed, then it needs to have the emergency language in it?
So any resolution ordinance that we pass, that we don't pass by emergency, let's say it just takes a mayor's signature. She cannot sign it until that 30 days has passed. So in order for me to do the postings for the notification of the public hearing, I would think that that's why the emergency language is in there, because I am taking action based off of what this is allowing me to do.
Bricker
So
told
it
you
allows
that-
you to act within that 30-day window after it's
correct.
passed?
That's
That's
what
all
my
it is.
feeling is on it, and that's just my opinion. I don't have anything that backs that, except for the email communication that Nancy has had with Ricker and Brayden.
And this is only for the steps for the public hearing.
Correct, that's
Yeah,
it.
it's not
That's
for
it.
the
This is
This is
NCA.
for the
this is
discussion of
We are
that.
not voting in an NCA with this.
Right.
It is just for a public hearing. So we have a motion and a second. Let's get roll call, please.
Zeke,
Zeke?
Yes, I heard you. Yes.
Jay?
No.
Patricia?
Yes.
Eric?
No.
Courtney?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I just went to wait 3 readings. Now we move to
We have to
we have to pass it. Have a motion to approve.
Nancy, that did pass to waive the readings, it was a 4-2 vote. You have to have 5.
Yeah, I have to have 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we have to do. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, resolution number 26-2026, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract with Pickaway County Services provided by the Pickaway County Building Department for the Village of Commercial Point, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. The reason I put emergency language on this is because our contract is expiring, and we don't want people who are building houses to not have their houses approved. So,
Motion to suspend the readings.
motion to waive the readings by,
When did our contract expire?
we met with them, what was supposed to be on last month's. So,
We met with them earlier part in June.
Yeah.
And that we were gonna have a meeting, and
But it was still, we still would have had to do emergency language then.
probably, yes, because they
Yeah, 'cause
didn't come to us and let us know that it was expiring.
it was going to, no, it was going to go in, because we said, well, we don't have a meeting until July, when we spoke to him in June. And he said, well, that's fine, we can date this for July. So if we would have voted for it in June, it would have waited the 30 days and went into effect in July.
Don't we have somewhere with contracts?
The only reason that they're doing a new contract is because we're getting more money
Yeah, it's
back
not,
from them. Otherwise, if we were not getting any additional funding from them, we wouldn't even have to sign a new contract, because our existing one would just continue.
we're getting 10%
But because they're
on the
giving us
residential.
more funding off of each residential home, that's why we have to do a new contract with them.
If
Are
you
they
want,
acting as our zoning administrator next time?
no,
That's
this is
building.
building department,
This is
which
the
is
building
completely
department.
different. If, I mean, it's up to you, I'm sure if he wants, we wanna wait another 30 days to not.
When does it
That's
expire?
Well, all this is that they now are giving us more money.
Right. So if we don't vote
So if
on the
you
new
don't-
contract, we're just not getting the additional
Right.
money for the time
Right.
period
So if
that
you
we're
want
not
to-
voting on it.
If you want to remove the emergency, or you wanna let it go another reading, I mean, I just,
What's
So-
the additional money?
10% on houses,
Right
on
now, we get
residential.
nothing
Right now, we get nothing.
for housing.
We have nothing now at all?
Right,
Yeah, we're
just
getting
on
10%.
commercial, just on commercial. So we can do a first reading and
So-
wait.
We're allowed to like,
You
okay.
can do a first reading.
Well, no, I'm just like discussion, cause I wanna make sure that it's like clear about this emergency stuff, cause there's been so much conversation online about the emergency language stuff. And I think and I understand the scare around it. I understand because people are now, some of our constituents are now fighting an emergency thing that passed. So I understand that. But I think the thing that is not being realized, that was passed in emergency, for zoning, the readings were waived, and then it was passed in an emergency, which means it went into effect right away. These, we are doing the same thing. However, I think it's being lost here when the things that we're trying to do are literally helping the village. So, I will publicly say, and most know, I don't agree with the emergency zoning. I will never vote for that. I don't agree with it. But when there are certain things that are good for the village, I think that we need to take that into consideration instead of just being like, oh, well, some of the people up here passed something in emergency and now we're trying to like not pass anything in emergency even if it's good for the village because of what happened before. So if that's the case and they're never gonna vote for an emergency, then I think we should just like know that up front, because there's no point in putting emergency language in anything then.
Correct.
So that's, I mean, I think we need to get on the same page with that, because to waive the readings, it needs to be 5, and if it's constantly gonna be 4 to 2, then there's no point in reading any legislation with any emergency in it, in my opinion, if we're just gonna keep bumping heads.
Is it a statutory thing that causes us to have to do this, or is it, because I don't understand why we can't have, like, why the mayor doesn't have the power to act on some of these administrative things immediately without us including emergency language. So is there something that we could change in our rules or at a?
No.
It's the
Short answer is
ORC.
no.
It's the ORC.
So it's the ORC.
Yeah, it's the ORC.
You're going into a contract.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why.
And I think Courtney made a great point. When you see the word emergency, you have to really look at it holistically. You gotta think outside the box. You gotta critically think, what is this going to do? Is this a benefit to the village? If it's a benefit to the village, we need to move. Some of these things that we do meeting after meeting, it's because we keep dragging our feet on certain issues, and we don't need to drag it.
Or
If
we
it's
could
good
have
for the village, can we please move forward? There's a book called Emotional Intelligence. I'm gonna buy a copy of it. And I want everyone up here to read that book, Emotional Intelligence. And when you read that book, you make decisions without your emotions in it. You think outside the box. Is it good? Is it bad? Without your emotion in it. And I think once people take the emotion out of it, we can move forward as a team. So let's get back to the task at hand, and let's stop dragging our feet and do what's best for Commercial Point, please.
I just think that, like, personally, my hang up on it is that I want us to be intentional about, like, if we're doing these things, that we're not simply declaring that something is an emergency, to move it through the process, because we didn't realize that the contract was coming to an end at
It's
an
not
appropriate
coming to
time.
an end.
But I'm just saying
So-
that we need to be, like, very intentional about tracking these things so that we're passing them in an appropriate amount of time. Like, I understand, like, if we have to move a change order through, or a contract has to change, and there's a real reason that it can't wait 30 days. But there are very few things that can't wait 30 days.
You also have to remember, Zeke, we didn't get to have a meeting last month.
That's true. And
So,
I
I
think
mean,
if
we
that-
gotta
if
we gotta
this
think
was
about
on
that
the-
too.
On the agenda last month, then I can understand that logic, right? Like, we're making up for some of that.
This isn't affecting,
But-
in a negative way, any resident. This is just allowing us to get, 10% on residential, which in fact helps the village. Now, if you don't want to pass it tonight under emergency, you don't have to.
Well, can't we still waive the readings and take the emergency
you can
language
do
out,
that.
and then basically what would happen is it would wait for 30 days for us to sign the contract, but it wouldn't have to go through 3 readings?
Yep, you can absolutely do that.
Because that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think, my biggest thing is I feel like we're wasting so much time because it's like we're just not on the same page, and I think everyone in the community can see that, obviously. And that's why I'm saying collectively, somehow, we need to get on the same page. There's no point in putting emergency language in if it's never going to get passed. We need to firmly establish collectively what the reason, or try to, I guess, what is going to constitute as an emergency. Is it going to be nothing? Is it going to be something good? Is it going to be just non-zoning or not, or stuff that can directly negatively affect the community? Like, that's my thing.
So you want to do a motion to waive the
I mean,
reading
might
and
as,
remove
yeah,
the
that's what I would
emergency
say.
language.
Yeah,
That
make
is
a
what you
motion
said.
to remove the emergency language and waive the 3 readings.
Just like a question I have about that though is, like, again, so let's say we pass something without the emergency language, you went ahead and signed it
She
in
can't.
anticipation.
She can't.
But
Can't for 30
then
days.
if it was challenged in that time, would that not just invalidate her signing?
Well, she can't sign it. She can't sign it for 30 days. Without the emergency language, she has to wait the 30 days and then she signs it. During that 30 days is when someone could challenge it. She can't sign anything.
That's why I had to wait for the assessment, for the computers, for the IT people to come in and do the security assessment. She sent me the contract the next day. I said, I can't sign this for 30 days. I had to wait 30 days to sign it.
But then if we wait the 30 days, 10%, I don't know.
I mean, it's not a big loss.
Right, I mean,
It's
I
not-
know, but I'm just saying.
I'm just trying
money,
to clean.
No,
This
I
is
know,
just
but
administrative
money's money,
work
right?
to me.
So we're waiting 30 days to get money that we'll
Yeah.
eventually get, but we're gonna wait 30 days.
I think it's just administrative. This is how I look at it. It's just administrative work.
But do we wanna lose money for what amounts to, you know, the technical language hangup that we may or may not have on council?
So right now, Courtney has the motion out there to waive the readings and remove the emergency language. Do I have a second?
She made the motion to remove the
Yes, she
emergency
did.
language? Okay.
And waive the reading. So
I was just gonna say, I think we have to have two different
Okay.
motions.
So I first motion to amend resolution 26-2026 and remove the emergency language.
A second.
I'll second.
Roll call. Dustin?
Yes.
Courtney?
Yes.
Jay?
No.
Patricia?
Yes.
Zeke?
I don't want to just waive the 3
No.
readings.
Well, that would be the next
Eric?
one.
No.
So that is a
We
tie
can't do it without this.
to amend the legislation.
I vote
So
yes.
we're leaving the emergency language in.
That's the next one. She just voted.
Yeah, I'd be fine with leaving the emergency language in here because it benefits the village to be able to collect that money immediately.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's no point. We're going in
Come on,
circles,
guys.
is what I'm saying. We're going in circles.
Come on.
Because we didn't remove the emergency language, they're not gonna vote to waive the readings. So we just did all that. It's pointless. That's what I'm saying. We're just literally this. It's really,
I'm just gonna make the motion to remove the emergency language. Okay?
they just said no. We just did that. And they said no.
It was a tie.
It's a tie.
Oh,
It's a tie. So I'm just voting yes to
okay.
remove the emergency language. Let's move on.
Okay.
So, do I have a motion to accept 26-2026?
No, now you need to suspend your reads if you're going to do
I'm
that.
so flustered by all of this stuff. Do you have a motion to waive the readings?
Motion to waive the readings.
Second.
Roll call. Eric?
No.
Courtney?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Zeke?
Yes.
Jay?
No.
Patricia?
Yes.
Dude.
Not passed. All right.
This is literally so unproductive.
Okay, resolution number 27-2026, an ordinance repealing resolution 23-2024 and establishing new credit card limits for the village departments. We do not need this waived.
Discussion.
I was gonna go into it, but yes, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
The reason this came up is because, we want to increase the credit card limit of the village office credit card from 2,500 to 5,000, because we've had some things come up and, have had to wait until we paid it off. So that's what this is about. Everybody else's limits will stay at $2,500. Any questions?
Who all has credit cards?
Police department has one, the utility department has one, and the main office has one. And the reason that this happened is the credit cards are very, very strange. So the utility department bought an AED for out of the plant, and it cost $1,800. So what I did is in the middle of the billing cycle, I went in and I paid that $1,800 off. However, the credit limit did not reflect that until after the cycle completed. So it left a balance where they didn't have a whole bunch of room on their credit card. So if we increase mine, then we can use at least one of them, increase one of them. If it's not the one for the village main office, that's fine, but it at least gives a little bit more wiggle room that we can use that for the local.
I think the one in the main office ought to be increased.
That's the one I asked.
Yeah, that's
In the legislation, it says the village card, village office card. a resolution, so just wanna, we can pass it if we can, and not, we can wait.
I would have motion to waive the reading on that. Waive the readings. There's no emergency language on there is what I take,
No,
is what I
there's
say,
not.
correct?
For the credit card thing?
Yes.
Motion by Dustin,
Second.
second by Jay. Roll call to waive the readings.
Jay,
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Okay, the motion to adopt resolution 27-2026.
Make a motion.
Jay, second.
Second.
Dustin, roll call to approve.
Eric,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Patricia, Jay.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Resolution 28-2026, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract with New Era Technology for IT services for the Village of Commercial Point and declaring an emergency. The reason I have this as an emergency is that it was found out that the contract we previously had was only signed by the previous mayor. It was not approved by council, so currently we do not have an IT contract.
And that defines the declaring an emergency clause of health, safety, and welfare of our community.
Yes.
So, I'm gonna make a motion to waive the readings on resolution 28.
Didn't we amend this same resolution and?
You're looking at the security assessment one, New Era.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally separate.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Dustin, Jay second. Roll call to waive the readings.
Courtney,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Eric.
No.
Okay.
That's to waive the readings. Right, I make a motion to pass resolution 28.
Second.
Dustin, Jay, roll call to approve.
Zeke,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Courtney.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed, thank you. Resolution number 29-2026, the resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a change order for the contract with the Manick and Smith Group, Inc., MSG, for data center research services and declaring an emergency. Just, we don't have to have the emergency, I put it on there because I know it's a change order, they're wanting to get started on it. It's,
First read.
okay, that's fine. Item only. Resolution number 31-2026, a resolution to ratify the realignment of monies within the general from transfers out account 1000-910-910 and transfer said monies to the insurance and bonding account 173351. Any
Motion.
questions on this?
So do you want me to explain these first three? I've already moved the money because you're ratifying the action that I've taken. Insurance bill increased quite a bit this year. Our liability insurance with the new sewer plant that came on board and then just the price of inflation. We did not have enough budget in the water sewer general fund. So these next three are because I've already moved money with that bill taken.
Do we have to individually pass these resolutions? We can't.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion by Jay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dustin. Roll call.
Eric,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Dustin.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 32-2026, a resolution to ratify the realignment of monies within the sewer fund from the capital outlay account 5201-549-590 and transfer said monies to the insurance and bonding account 5201-549-351.
Motion.
Motion by Jay, second by Zeke. Roll call, please.
Jay,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Zeke.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 33-2026, a resolution to ratify the realignment of monies within the water fund from the capital outlay account 5101-539-590 and transfer said monies to the insurance and bonding account 5101-539-351.
Motion.
Motion by Jay,
Second.
second by Dustin. Roll call.
Eric,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Zeke.
Yes.
Resolution number 34-2026, a resolution to transfer monies within the general fund for the transfers out account 1,910,910 and transfer said monies to equipment account 1,725,520.
Let me explain these next few. So as Nancy said in her mayor's report, we're looking at bringing somebody else on in the administrative office as an administrative assistant. I know a couple of you have felt this needed to be done for a while, so we're now to the point where we're gonna try to do that as long as council approves it. These next several here are moving money for wages, insurance, equipment, because we have to buy a new computer, new phone for the desk, Medicare, OPERS, that would be for this position. If you guys don't approve the position, the money will just sit there, we'll rebudget it for next year.
So
This
is,
be done after?
It can be, if you don't wanna do it beforehand, that's fine, whatever you want to do is fine. We already have the position as administrative assistant in our employee guideline book. It's full-time, it's not part-time. We think we wanna start with part-time, maybe like 30 hours a week, and possibly move it into full-time, depending on the work. So we would have to update the employee guideline book to say part-time position.
The administrative assistant that we had is listed as a part-time position.
Now it's full-time. She's been full-time for several years. It's up to you, if you don't want to pass these tonight, we can just do them in the first reading. It's just moving money.
Just doing that.
Okay, I have a motion. Mary Jane?
I do have one question for it. So the equipment account, all for the same purpose?
Yeah, it would be like I said, to buy a new computer, whatever that individual would.
I may have missed that part, so thank you for clarifying. Okay.
Okay, second by Zeke. Can I get a roll call, please?
I'm sorry, who made the second?
Ezekiel.
Thank you. Jay?
Yes.
Tricia?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Zeke?
Yes.
Courtney?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Resolution number 35-2026, the resolution to transfer monies within the general fund from the transfers out account 1,910,910 and transfer said monies to the insurance account 1,725,220.
Motion.
Motion by Jay. Second.
Second.
Tricia, roll call.
Jay?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Courtney?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Zeke?
Yes.
Tricia?
Yes.
Motion passed. Resolution number 36-2026, the resolution to transfer monies within the general fund for the transfers out account 1,910,910 and transfer said monies to the Medicare account 1,725,213.
Motion.
Motion by Jay.
Second.
Second by Zeke. Roll call.
Eric?
Yes.
Zeke?
Yes.
Tricia?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Courtney?
Yes.
Motion passed. Resolution passed, sorry. Resolution number 37-2026, a resolution to transfer monies within the general fund from the transfers out account 1,910,910 and transfer said monies to the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System 1,725,211.
Motion.
Motion by Jay. Second. Ezekiel.
Can I ask a question real quick though? Why is it with these that we don't have to vote to waive the readings and then?
You're just transferring
Okay,
funds.
okay.
They've already been done in most of these, or?
No, you're not
These are-
ratifying.
Oh,
When it says ratify, I've already done it to take care of a bill. These, you're just approving me to move money, and they don't need to have second, third meetings.
Roll call. Ezekiel. Roll call.
Jay?
Yes.
Patricia?
Yes.
Zeke?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Courtney?
Yes.
Resolution 38-2026, the resolution to transfer monies within the general fund from the transfers out account 1,910,910 and transfer said monies to the planning consultants account 1,715,347.
Motion.
Hold on, that's what isn't mine.
Let's just get this.
This one is because there isn't enough money to cover the change order. You put a little bit extra fluff in there the last time we moved money into the planning, but this time it will cover the change order if you guys don't choose to go that route.
Thank
Okay,
you.
motion by Jay. Second.
Second.
Dustin. Roll call.
Courtney?
Yes.
Zeke?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Tricia? Dustin?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Resolution number 39-2026, a resolution to transfer monies within the general fund from the transfers out account 1,910,910 and transfer said monies to the salaries, clerk, treasurer, staff account, 1,725, 122.
Motion.
Motion by Jay, second by Ezekiel. Roll call.
Jay,
Yes.
Tricia,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Eric, Courtney.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 40-2026, the resolution authorizing compensation for the interim zoning administrator and declaring an emergency. I would
Who's the administrator?
Mike, our street superintendent, I appointed him until we find someone, so he's been doing the job. So we want to make sure that we can pay him, so I would like for this to be passed as well.
Oh, he's doing it in the
He's
meantime?
doing it now.
Oh,
And I'd
So
like-
you get paid the same as the
Yes.
other administrator? Okay.
Yes.
What the previous one was?
Correct, so
Okay.
I would like to be
Okay.
able to pay him, so
Yeah.
if we can pass this under emergency, I would appreciate it.
Do we have to waive readings with this one?
This is not a
Can I
transfer.
ask, I mean, is he getting paid while he's doing his hourly job? Is he getting
Yes.
paid, so he's getting double paid?
Well, not really, he's doing the job no more than Wendy got paid for village administrator.
Well, what I'm saying, he's also getting paid for his streets job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then he's getting paid for the
Right.
administrator, so
Yeah.
he's getting paid twice for the same job.
No,
No.
he's doing both jobs.
I understand that.
I get what you're
You're
saying.
getting
Is
paid
he clocking out of one job and then
And
clocking into
the other,
He's
oh,
not.
I get what you're saying.
So he's getting paid twice for the same job.
That's it, that's all he gets.
Well,
And
I
some
understand
fees
that,
on
but
things.
But it's still getting paid twice for the same job. Why would we do that?
Well, if different perspective that you can look at it because of the way the previous job was structured, it doesn't cohesively blend with his current job. So in essence, the way I took it when I read it, and you tell me if I'm wrong, because the way I looked at it is almost like you're getting a bump in pay for taking the extra responsibilities.
Well, the only other question is, who was doing that when the administrator, or when the zoning guy wasn't there before? Who took that,
Alan did, and I can't go out and measure
I don't know,
lots.
well, I'm just asking. I just don't like paying people twice for the same thing.
Right,
I know that sounds
And I
crazy.
respect yours, because the way I thought of it, same initial thought,
And
I'm
we
like,
have an
how does this-
interview on Wednesday,
But,
just to
but
let you know.
the way I took it, instead of going through like a permanent increase in pay, it was supplementing with the responsibilities. That's the way I looked at it, and again, I can see both sides, that's where I'm
Paying
at
the
with
same amount as we were paying.
So do we know, we are paying
Well,
him
no,
the same
no,
amount that we're paying the
no, it
full-time
was-
guy?
If you
We're
look
paying-
on there,
He's
it-
not a
there's-
But you-
zoning administrator was never a
No, but you were paying the
okay.
same amount that you were paying him, correct?
Yeah.
Per.
So
per unit.
is his streets job is full-time?
Yeah, but he now has employee working under him that has been able to help. Dave helped as he could, but Dave could no longer handle it.
But it's just
Just had
temporary,
too much-
he's
it's
taking
just
on collateral
temporary.
responsibilities, why are we paying him the separated kind of,
Why would we not pay him?
well, cause we're already paying him.
But not for that job. But not
But
for
you
that
guys,
job.
you have to also think about it is that if I'm at work and I'm doing my job and my boss comes to me and says, hey, you're gonna do your job and you're also gonna do your coworker's job that just left, but you're not gonna get anything and you're gonna do both jobs for me.
Happens all the time.
I mean, it does, but are we wanting to
Well-
do the right thing or are we wanting to be corporate America?
Well, in state language, they call it a temporary work level. So if you bump up your responsibilities under a certain time frame, you have a temporary work level and you get paid commensurate to that temporary work level. So that's how I had to relate it, because unless you want to put something together that says, hey, give him a temporary raise for, $20 an hour. I'm just making a. If you want to give him a temporary raise until those responsibilities are done, you can go that route as well.
Or if you're paying him twice, couldn't
Hire
you?
him too, while he's doing the work, I mean, which one?
Because he's responsible
The
for
zoning
both.
inspector makes $6,000 a year.
Yeah, it's not
That's it.
So.
So we're paying him we're paying him all of that or we're paying him
It's
a
on a
portion?
monthly.
It's on a monthly,
It's
but
on
we're
a
paying
monthly
him, it would
basis.
accumulate to the
So
same
it's
amount.
like nothing.
It's
$6,000?
not,
That's a year, she said.
that's a year.
I understand that.
That's
Money
that's
is-
$500 a
Two,
month.
how much
We were just worried about,
Okay,
we were
I'm
just
gonna
worried
tell you how
about
much
save,
it is.
wait a minute, we were just worried about saving 10% on this one thing. You got all upset because we didn't vote for the 10% on the zoning.
Yeah,
10%
that's
was-
10% that we could have just got that we weren't getting that we could pay Mike.
And I guarantee you, it's less than we're paying, it's a lot less than we're paying him.
Complicated.
It's a lot less than we're paying him. What would the 10% be, Nancy, on the house?
How would I know? It depends on their bill.
You said per house.
However they come out here and the building department looks at houses, that's how many they do. I don't know, I didn't know it was gonna have a math quiz here. So, Wendy, can you,
So
how
it's
much?
$262.50 per paycheck, and that's every 2 weeks. And then they get paid an additional $20 if it's an accessory structure, or $50 if it's in-house.
And you probably wouldn't get mileage because it's
He
driving.
does not get mileage because it is a village truck. And again, like Nancy said, we do have an interview coming up
Wednesday, yeah, we got another application, so.
Can we talk? Side note, I feel like we need to talk about our zoning administrator's pay. Who wants that job? Who are we gonna find to come here for $6,000 a year for $500 a month? What kind of caliber of individual is gonna take that job? I'm just saying.
We did look into that.
We're gonna revisit
I know,
it.
we looked at it, like now there are no zoning apps. And like in the winter, there's really none, but they get that salary regardless. But,
Okay, well, side note, well, we can keep going, I'm just saying.
so are we just gonna have a first reading, or are we going to pay Mike, or are we not going to pay Mike?
I'd make a motion to waive the reading.
Second. Roll call.
Courtney,
Yes.
Eric,
No.
Dustin,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Jay.
Yes. I'm against it, yes.
Okay, your motion to,
Motion to approve.
Dustin, motion
Second.
to approve, second by Courtney. Roll call please on approve.
Jay,
Jay, you're voting to approve.
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Eric.
No.
Okay, motion passed. Resolution number 41-2026. A resolution authorizing the Village of Commercial Point to apply for funding through the Smart Growth Initiative Grant P3 to support the development of the comprehensive master plan.
Motion.
Motion to waive by Jay. Second,
Second.
Dustin, roll call.
Jay,
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Before we go to the second readings of things.
We're doing a motion to adopt.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Second was Courtney. Roll call.
Jay,
Yes.
Patricia,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Motion passed. Yes.
So for resolution 2026, that was the tie vote that you split, that you voted yes to remove the
Yes.
emergency language?
Yes.
And then it still didn't pass?
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah, that's why I said.
Correct.
Okay.
It'll be
Second
on the
reading.
cow agenda to discuss.
Resolution number 23-2026, a resolution approving the development plan application for Foxfire subdivision phase 5, parts 1, 2, and 3. For third reading.
Wait.
Wait,
Oh,
wait,
sorry.
this-
Here.
I didn't see you in the corner.
Yeah.
Here.
Just here to,
I'm
do you need me to say my name and address?
See him in the
No.
corner.
Here to answer any questions. I think we addressed the disclosure language last time. That's live in our contracts today.
Thank you.
I'm not even gonna mention the E word, so we're just write it out with second and third, hopefully.
Did you pick up what he said? What he was saying there? We wouldn't be wise to request emergency, I think.
Yeah, I would say so.
As the village engineer stated, these engineering plans are fully approved and we've received our state permits, so everything's clear. Yes?
When did you put the language in about the data centers?
2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
A draft of that language was written the evening that we were here in the room. That got circulated to corporate counsel within MI and got
And it was
incorporated.
forwarded to Rockford.
And I presume you've sold no houses since then, right?
We sold 9 this month.
Thank you.
So
People are still
Wait,
buying
no, no,
houses.
wait,
even
wait,
that's
no.
correct.
Now, I have, so coming across here, and maybe you can help me out here, the one thing going through this, the comprehensive nature that you put this together, thank you very much. I'm a
That
map,
was what was approved 2 or 3 years ago.
right, well, the entirety, or there was another?
The entirety.
Okay.
That was
Right.
what we gave you those so that you could reference that against the development plan to show that it's in compliance.
Correct. So the one thing and I brought this up before about the variances, and there was a reason why I asked it, because I'm a map guy, so I was looking at all the maps. The one thing I was either missed in that, or am disappointed in, is some of the amenity opportunities that you would have. There's a lot of space that you had in this area.
Yeah.
Anything to offer, not just that new phase, but some of the folks who have kind of, as the phases have gone through, any equipment, any trails, any types of amenities for these particular things. This is something that you are not the only ones. I've brought this up to a couple other developers to have those opportunities for your customers, but also our
It's
residents.
a little bit before my time, so I can't speak
Okay.
specifically to it, but on the west side, there is a parking lot we're building that provides access to the entire wooded area that is in the open space. Now, what that gets programmed for, ultimately, I don't know, but that parking lot and all that's getting installed.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't know that could be a good opportunity for nature. I didn't know, in your perspective, what MI is going to do to lead that. If that's going to be left up to an HOA, is it just going to be empty space? How is that going to be?
I could check on that for the third
I-
reading. I don't exactly know. Typically, the way those have worked in the past, and I can speak to it to parks around my houses, those trails end up getting kind of stomped in naturally. People will pick, and then people continue to follow the trails, and then it's there.
I just know a big thing is trails, and you know, we work on our comprehensive plan, connectivity, things to do outside, recreational purposes. So I didn't want to miss the opportunity as we get to. I know it's past 10 o'clock at night, but to speak to that and find out what MI has plans.
Okay.
And I saw other open spots. I was just like, am I missing like a park? Am I missing a gazebo? Those types of things that are better selling points and things that we can advocate for our residents.
Sure.
So you have paths in some of the areas over there, right?
There are
Paths.
some paths through
Like, you're
that
not-
connect open. If there's gaps in lots, there'll be either sidewalk.
Behind the one with the one section over there with the ponds behind it, there's a big bike trail there.
Yeah, there's a big trail there.
You're not gonna continue that?
I'd have to look at, honestly, it's been a while since I've looked at it.
Okay.
I don't know if it wraps around in
I
the
just-
ponds.
yeah,
I mean, again, this is we've talked about building that partnership situation. That's, to me, I think is important for us to advocate for our residents and stuff, and I won't, I won't stop bugging you about things like that, so this will be the last.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
One thing I would add too, I would like if we could just make sure that we have kind of in anticipation of the possibility of data center being there behind them, possibly setting additional mounting, mature trees, that kind of thing back there. Especially given the initial drawings that were submitted by the developers for the data centers. Right. So.
Yeah, their ponds will be. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're gonna try to work with them as much as communication as we can to see if there's ways to soften the blow there. If something were to move forward.
And some of that may not be like a direct reflection. I'm looking at the maps too, but I know you have kind of a U shape, and those boundaries of some of those lots, at least, a dozen of those lots are right on that line.
Correct.
So I know that there's going to have to be, whatever happens in the future, some cooperation to mitigate any, nuisances or issues that we're going to have from that, from that boundary.
Yeah, and I think I'll just say, somewhat similar to what I said when we were here, I don't know if that was 30 days or so ago as it related to the final plat. At least my understanding of where this process is, this is essentially the final development plan, and we're here to ask the council to affirm that what was just submitted meets the book that's before you, and we think that everything's been thoroughly reviewed and that it does in fact meet that to the letter.
Sure, yeah, and again, that's why I brought up the variances that were put in here and to determine what level of approval that those are, and if are we at a situation where those need to be adjusted or not. So that's,
Yeah, I think we're comfortable with this.
okay.
And I would ask too, I mean, I know I brought it up last time you guys met, we have, land use committee, on the 15th. You guys had initially, last month, indicated that you wanted to come to that this month. I haven't heard anything from you guys since.
Oh. Let me look at my calendar.
I'd just like to give people Foxfire an opportunity to kind of speak directly to you guys if they have any concerns. I mean, they've been very vocal as a community as of late. So.
Yeah, I could do that. What time?
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
Okay, anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, up for third reading is a resolution number 14-2026, a resolution directing the immediate implementation of the Village of Commercial Point transparency, legislative tracking, and public registry framework, establishing phased benchmarks for implementation, requesting administrative cooperation.
I want to make a motion to pass Resolution 14.
Second.
Motion by Dustin, second by Jay.
And again, in my view on this, I see it as not just where it says requesting administrative cooperation, but a collaboration with council and the administration to build on what Wendy has provided and to see if we can incorporate things to make items more usable, not only for the administration, but also for council and our residents. So that's my intent with this resolution
Okay,
motion.
okay, roll call please.
Patricia?
No.
Jay?
Yes.
Courtney?
Yes.
Zeke?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Can we, we're down a person?
Yes,
Still
he needed to leave.
4-1.
That's what Chief texted.
No, I know, I'm just,
Yeah, he needed to leave.
He told me before he left that he's got a medical timing requirement that requires a minute. I mean, I guess maybe we need to talk about possibly having these meetings a little bit earlier if possible. Just more time to-
Ordinance number 2026-14, an ordinance establishing a public transparency and development registry for the Village of Commercial Point, Ohio, establishing project intake, status tracking, public posting, updated benchmarks, backup access, and related administrative procedures.
Can I make a motion to table this legislation, please?
Motion to table by Dustin,
second.
second by Courtney. Roll call to table.
Dustin?
Yes.
Courtney?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Patricia?
Yes.
Zeke?
No.
Okay, table. Ordinance 2026-11, an ordinance establishing a planning commission for the Village of Commercial Point and defining its powers and duties.
Motion.
Motion to approve by Courtney. Second.
Second.
Second by Justin. Roll call, please.
Zeke?
Which one are we going
The planning
Planning
commission.
commission.
-11.
Yes.
Courtney?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Patricia?
Yes.
Okay, next up we have the tabled items. Ordinance number 2026-06, an ordinance to rezone 110.05 plus or minus acres within the Village of Commercial Point from exceptional use to planned unit district and adopting the preliminary plan and development standard text for the planned district. As Susan said, they were going back and forth on a,
So they're leaving it tabled, correct?
leaving it, I would leave it
How
tabled.
long can they have it tabled for?
Yeah.
Someone's taken on things down there for years. Yeah, basically, yeah. Okay, ordinance number 2026-13, an ordinance establishing a legislative process and public legislative registry for the Village of Commercial Point, Ohio, establishing sponsorship, intake, tracking status, public posting, backup access, and related administrative procedures, and declaring an emergency. You want to remain that? That's remain table?
Remain table, because we tabled that.
Additional business. I do have something. Give me a second to find it. One thing I wanted to start with is our council rules. In our council rules, which everyone voted on, in section 1.02, administrative assistant. It's been told that we are not doing the minutes correctly, that Wendy should be doing the minutes. What was voted on is the administrative assistant shall attend all public hearings, regular meetings, special meetings, and committee of the whole meetings of the legislative authority and take minutes of all proceedings. The administrative assistant shall take roll call at the start of meetings. The administrative assistant shall take a roll call vote for all questions before the legislative authority throughout the meeting. So I wanted to make that clear that she is permitted to do the minutes.
Paula or Wendy?
Paula.
Paula.
When was that voted?
We voted on
You
that the
voted on
first
it.
meeting.
Okay, I thought, because I mean,
We vote on it every
The
year.
first meeting, I think.
Is that what the,
Yeah.
is that what the issue with the irregularity?
Yeah, is that what the issue was?
I don't know, he just, there's just an issue period with a lot of things, and I don't know what, we have this new system that we're using, and maybe there was some mix up with that, where it helps us, since we're having 4-hour meetings,
Right.
it's impossible for her to get all these minutes done. So we invested in, some software that helps with minutes, and that may be it, and so we'll look at it. The second thing I wanna bring up is, you know, he made a comment about her being my sister.
Is that true?
You know. Yes.
Okay.
Well, God, I didn't know. I'm literally like, who's your sister? What's going on here?
I took it upon myself.
I don't know the family trees.
I
God.
took it upon my, and she's worked here for 10 years.
So before you were ever
Yes.
anything here, Paula was
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Okay.
So I do have my letter from the Ethics Commission that says I am perfectly fine to be in the mayor's position. Paula does not report to me. She reports to the fiscal officer, Wendy. If she did report to me,
Then.
and here it says I would adhere to the council president for any disciplinaries.
Oh, okay.
So I am absolutely not doing anything wrong by being mayor of this community. So I wanted to clear that.
Am I allowed to? Who brought this up?
Eric did.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Lastly, I have not made a statement about things going on. I've been thinking on it, you know, waiting for the right time. And I didn't even know if I was gonna speak on this tonight, but I am very quickly, if that's okay with you. I know it's late. Says, good evening. I'm speaking tonight in the hope that we can find a path forward and work together for the betterment of this community. For those who may not know me, I was born and raised in Commercial Point and graduated from Tays Valley High School. My husband and I raised our family here, and now as empty nesters, we have the joy of spoiling our grandson. This community has been home to me, and I've spent much of my life volunteering and serving the people who live here. What began as helping when needed at our schools eventually led to serving as PTO president. I volunteered in the concession stands with the Scioto Kids Association, assisted with countless school functions, volunteered to work in the chicken noodle booth at Ladies Auxiliary, and supported numerous community events long before I ever considered running for council. I chose to run for council because of my deep love for this community and my desire to make it an even better place to live. I wanted to help create opportunities for families to come together and enjoy events locally rather than traveling to neighboring communities. When I was elected on council, I focused on building community connections. I had always been told that people in the developments didn't feel welcome here, and that was my motivation to change that. One of the things I'm most proud of is helping establish the Parks and Recreation Committee. Alongside 2 dedicated volunteers, we created programs and events that have well exceeded all of our expectations. Our farmers market began with just 19 vendors and has grown into an event that now has as many as 60 vendors each month. Thanks to the generosity of the Scioto Elementary, we have the ability to expand and allow it by them allowing us to use their property. We also launched our food truck festivals, partnering with local business such as Doughboys and Beck's Bar to bring live music, local food, and family-friendly entertainment to our community. These events have become so successful that they have outgrown their original location. Through a wonderful partnership with Steve Baker and the Commercial Point Men's Club, we now have access to improved parking, seating, and a stage for entertainment. We introduced a Halloween festival, and with the support of Troy and Amber from Pick 'em Up Joe's, have been able to add bounce houses that make the event even more special for families. Our Christmas celebration has also grown significantly, featuring a parade, hay rides, thanks to Mr. Hill for allowing us to use his wagon, music, and community fellowship. One resident even remarked that it felt like a Hallmark movie. Those moments are exactly why I chose to serve, because bringing people together has always been my passion. That is why it saddens me to see the division that currently exists within our community. I have heard it said that I am part of the reason we find ourselves in this situation today. My response is simple. At that time, my fellow council members and I, two of whom still serve on this council today, listened to our residents. We were told repeatedly that people did not want additional residential growth and did not want increased truck traffic. That was when the previous mayor introduced the concept of data center development. At the time, it appeared to offer what believed was a balanced solution. Data centers would generate tax revenue without significantly impacting our schools or increasing truck traffic. While they do not create a large number of jobs, these corporations often invest heavily in local schools and can help communities address future infrastructure needs without increasing costs to residents. At that time, we heard very little, either positive or negative, about data centers. We relied on the information available to us. Personally, I visited a data center in Hilliard and spent time observing the facility because it was located near a residential neighborhood. I did not observe significant impacts, nor was I aware of widespread concerns from nearby residents. Based on the information available at the time, I believed it was the best decision for our community, and I believe my fellow council members felt the same. Recently, Ezekiel has shared something with me that I greatly appreciated. He said, "I believe you made the decision you thought was right at the time, and I respect how you are moving forward now." I think that statement reflects an important truth. We should evaluate decisions based on the information available when they were made, while remaining willing to adapt as circumstances change. There's also been significant discussion surrounding the rezoning ordinance that is frequently referenced on social media. I would like to clarify that the claim that this legislation was rushed through during an emergency meeting is simply not accurate. The proposal was discussed publicly for months during committee of the whole meetings and regular meetings. Public hearings were held. We had 4 residents and 2 township residents show up to speak. We also had Andy and Josh from MI speak. By the end of the hearing and readings, only a small number of attendees, 2 to be exact, expressed opposition. The rezoning of the Jan Farm property received all 3 required readings. In fact, the 3rd reading failed due to a lack of a second. That matter was later introduced under a different ordinance number. While I do not recall every detail regarding that decision, I do know that public discussion occurred throughout the process. I will acknowledge that emergency language was commonly used during multiple administrations, including administrations prior to my service on council. At the time, many councils viewed it as standard practice. It was not done out of malice, nor was it intended to silence input from the residents. However, I can say during my time that I ensure that emergency language is reserved for matters affecting the health, safety, and welfare of the community, and sometimes if we're things like with contracts that we have to. There are times that we're required, per the ORC, to pass things on emergency because we are limited on the time to do so. Along with council, I've supported and contributed legislation that places stricter restrictions on data center development, particularly regarding power generation and associated impacts. As we move forward, I believe it is time for our community to come together once again. We need to move beyond the negativity that has taken hold on social media and at times within these council chambers. We may not agree on every issue, but we should be able to disagree respectfully while working towards common goals. I believe most members of this council would agree I am not here to advance a developer's interest. I am here to serve the residents of Commercial Point and to do what I believe is best for our village. My hope is that beginning today, we can focus less on division and more on collaboration. This community has accomplished incredible things when we work together. I have seen it firsthand, and I know we can do it again. Thank you.
I have one item on additional business before we, I wanted to make sure that Mr. Hammond's questions were responded to, so I want to make sure if there's any questions. So if he's listening now or whenever, Yes, the water and power issues with data centers are two huge issues, and one of those reasons why we are going through the process of our 18-month moratorium to figure out how those would impact us, and to do a study, if you will, or a review of data and information to see how that's reflected. The second question he had was the deposit. If I'm correct, were both of those deposits for those returned to? Okay, I just want to make sure that that was clear, that those deposits were returned by our fiscal officer.
Say we voted.
I just wanted to make sure that I was not giving wrong information. Okay. Thank you.
I have a couple things. That was one of them. The other thing I want to speak to, Kevin Hill spoke about his conversation with Ralph Wolf. I also spoke with Mr. Wolf. I had no clue he was coming to speak today. I have spoken to Ralph previously when this issue was brought to me by constituents. I went directly to the source, and Ralph told me the exact same thing that Mr. Hill just said. So I just want to say I have also, when it came to me with, actually I told the mayor as well that I was going to have a conversation with Trustee Wolf, myself, before, believing anything or whatever. So thank you, but I want to substantiate, I also have had that same conversation. The only other thing I want to say quickly, because we're talking about decorum so much, we had developer come up and knock other elected officials, whether you agree with them or not. I don't agree with that. I would hope that our community members aren't going to the trustee meeting knocking us. I just personally, for an integrity thing, you won't catch me out here agreeing with knocking elected public officials, regardless of whether you agree with what they post online or not. And I also did not agree with the developer knocking you and your business and your process. I actually took great offense to that. And I think him showing it showed he knew he was in the wrong. So just wanted to say that. I think we need to expect, if we're expected more and we're expecting more of our community, developers need to come up here proper, in my opinion.
I have a couple things before we wrap up. The first thing I want to say is, it's about decorum. I've been saying it since I've been on council since January. If we can't learn to respect each other, if we cannot learn to respect our constituents, if we can't learn how to respect people coming here to speak, we are doing a disservice to our position. I was offended by the term big boy pants. There are people that fight obesity every single day. Those type of terms, racial slurs with a hard R, and personally, if you guys truly knew me, those kind of words, I welcome those words to someone to say to my face, because trust me, I am that one. I am that one that would challenge anyone that wants to use that word with a hard R. It's disgusting, it's deplorable. There is a book called Emotional Intelligence, and I've spoke about it several times, so for those that are listening that want to read the book, Daniel Goleman. This book is about people maybe smart with their IQ, but really EQ, your emotional intelligence, is worth more than your IQ. It's how you break down conversations, decisions, anything in your life. If you're doing it based on an emotion, you're doing yourself a disservice. I challenge everyone to read this book. It will help you in your professional life. It'll help you in your personal life. But I challenge everyone here on council that cannot respect your position. You cannot respect the mayor. You cannot respect our solicitor. If you can't respect Wendy, the police chief, you need to read this book and reevaluate what you want to do for the village of Commercial Point. I am over the disrespect. I might be quiet through most meetings because I'm a processor and I listen to things and I process it. And I'm going to say it again, it's disgusting and it's deplorable, some of the things that are said. It's offensive to people. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just echo that and say, I think for me, it's not so much about decorum as it is about professionalism. If you wouldn't say it at your job that you go to every day, I really don't think you have any business saying it here, right? Like, I don't think that we need to point fingers or single anyone out, because I think as a body we need to reflect and think about how we can do better by setting a tone of professionalism that's going to command the respect that we expect from our constituents and our developer and the professional stakeholders, the developers that come in here. You know, I think right now as a body we're not showing respect for ourselves. So or for our community. And so why would we expect them, if they even do want to come here and do business with us, that they would show us any respect, right? And I think that that's something that we have to think about and come here, and all we can do is come here next meeting and try to do better, each one of us. And that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'd ask all of you to do. And for any developers, constituents, people out there watching this, I would ask that of you as well. So that's all I have.
Okay. There's not anything else. We have an executive session.
Do you have the motion?
Would like to make the motion?
Motion.
Read it.
I have to read it?
I hereby
Oh, you're
make a
gonna do it?
motion to
Okay.
enter into executive session under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G3 to confer with attorneys for the Village of Commercial Point concerning disputes involving the village that are the subject of imminent court action. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Courtney?
Yes.
Yes. See here electronically.
Oh, I got it.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Good night.
Well, family, thank you very much.